I might add like the intro later, but it doesn't matter because we've started. Geeks Have Game, Geekdom Fancast. We have Greg here. This is our top 10 TV shows of 2024.
Well, it's going to be probably more like 35, but yeah.
Well, the thing I think we're all going to discover, if you're watching this, if you're agreeing with us, disagreeing with us, there was a lot of good TV this year. Almost too much.
Yeah, this was one of those years that, like, normally I think I at least wrangle and able to keep up somewhat. Like, I'm looking at this list of like, what one side is saying is the best TV of the year, and I'm like, dude, I didn't watch half these shows, and I wanted to. Like, it was too, like, and it wasn't. I remember the beginning of the year I was keeping up fine, and I remember when we did the episode, whatever, 6 months ago. Remember we did like a halfway point one.
Yeah,
I was struggling to even come up with the top 10 because there just wasn't that much out yet. And then everything else after the summer, all of a sudden, it just like
great deluge of TV. And yeah, the beginning of the year, like, this has been a crazy wild year, not in a good way, but like TV kind of like kept me sane this year. And there's just
well, you're gonna need a lot more of it in 2025, aren't you?
I pray to God I don't. I like after this year, I hope I don't need any more TV to keep me sane. Greg, what's up, buddy? How
we should introduce the Burger Lord himself, Greg Mussino.
Sure, this is the first time on GHC. Yeah, what's up, buddy?
I agree with you. I think that was the thing. It was like when we had the pandemic, TV served a purpose that was different. This time was more interesting because now we could be out and about, but we were still, everybody's dealing with stuff. There's a lot of things going on, as there always is, And the fact that I was realizing is there's, even with the industry issues, with the strikes, and the way that that's changed how things are going on with us too, as far as like promotion and going on, there's so much stuff. There really is. There's shows that everyone have been talking about that I haven't seen yet. Or like, oh yeah, I want to see them, but it's about finding the right time. I think a lot of times I've gone down rabbit holes of, well, this looks interesting, and this may be an older show, but it's a show I didn't watch then, and now because I have the streaming services, I can watch it, and I watch it on my terms. So the biggest thing for me this year, I noticed, I am no longer watching really appointment TV, as in like, oh, I've got to see it when it airs. It's like, oh, it'll be on tomorrow, and I'll be able to watch it on the streaming service, and as long as I don't have commercials, I'm looking at you, Paramount Plus. I know what the fuck they're trying to do. I paid for no commercials. Don't fucking put ads in front of my thing. Say,
oh my God.
Yeah.
Them and Amazon. And Peacock. Like,
we have the non-one with Amazon.
They're like, oh, no commercials. These commercials will play before I'm like, I don't want the commercials.
What's really annoying is I'm sure, of course, me and Bobby have to deal with the most is like when they use them for football.
Oh, I know.
And because what they do is they play the same ones over and over again. So you watch the same commercials for 2 hours.
If I do something on demand, which I used to do with AMC, like say for some of their shows, it would be the same commercial 3 times in the fucking row. The same commercial. I'm all, stop. That's abuse. I should be able to complain to the FCC and say, you are abusing me, sir, with cruel and unusual punishment.
I actually learned Spanish because they play this one commercial over and over and over again. And at the beginning is like, open your eyes. And I can't think, I'm blanking right now. But then it would like, they would do the Spanish version. And I would like, dun, dun, so I'm like, oh, I'm learning Spanish. Okay, because they're playing the same commercial over. I forget what we were watching. I think it was a football game. And I went downstairs to do something. I came back up and my wife was like, they played the same commercial 3 times in a row. Can we watch something else? I'm like, no, let's watch the game. They're playing the same commercials over and over again.
This is where you're actually going to be thanking AI, because at least with AI, they can make commercials that aren't the same anymore. But then everybody else will be pretty much upset because they may not be working.
Exactly.
So it's a non-win thing. So yeah, there's been a lot of interesting things going on with technical stuff too this year with the services and everything. But at the end of the day, we're here to talk about the shows. So let's talk about the shows, right?
I just want to drop for the Geeks Have Game crowd that this is Greg Musinho, who's been a frequent guest and collaborator on the Geekdom Fancast. So he is not new to anyone that's listening to the Geekdom Fancast, but introducing to the Geeks Have Game crowd.
Yes.
It's an honor to meet you guys, and you're seeing me in the new improved studio, which has better lighting, so people can appreciate the hobo-esque look that I provide. And I'm honored to be here. It's always fun to talk shop with you guys.
All right. Well, for the audience, so what we're going to go through first is we have some of our common interests. We're not going to sit here and go through top 10 3 times. We'll that's way too time consuming. So what we'll do is we'll go through some of our common likes or top shows of the year first to get us going, and then after that we'll get more into some more of our individual choices that didn't make that we all didn't seem to agree on. I want to start out with a high point though, because I think this is one that is going to be across the board on anyone that listens to Geeks Have Game or Geekdom Fancast or anyone that is in the nerd community. So I want to start at a high point. Let's talk about Fallout. I mean, who the hell did not like this show? I didn't have one single person that I talked to like, oh, well, that show sucked.
Fallout was fantastic. And that was one of those shows that became like the show that Ash and I were watching. Like she was like, "Ooh, is it?" I'm like, "That's it." Just damn it. All right, fine. But I mean, Walter Goggins and then Derek, who's your wife?
Ella Purnell.
There we go, Ella Purnell. I mean,
I don't know if she's my wife because I'd have to let Karen go.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. But I mean, as far as adapting a video game to TV and doing it in such a weird and wild way, it was so well done. Like my parents liked it, like everyone, like you said, like I haven't met one person who didn't like Fallout.
It was an amazing show. So I don't play the game, but I have plenty of people that I know play the game. I've seen the product, the branding. It's a big con favorite. If you go to Comic Cons, people are dressed up as the characters. People are buying the props and everything. But this is the one where I remember I really wish I could have seen this in a movie theater. And I was envious of some of my friends that went to some of the screens that they had for Your Consideration stuff where they put it up in a theater, because that opening the episode alone with just the visual effects and the backdrops that they did was incredible. And it was interesting to me too, because there have been lately a number of series of shows that kind of have the same background storyline of silos or being underground or apocalyptic situations. So to see something that has kind of been done already, still done in a new way, and such an interesting way, because like I said too, also great performances from the actors, just riveting characters. It was so good. I mean, I really, really enjoyed it. Yes.
I think one of the top things that makes it work also, though, is because it's a dark subject matter and there's a lot of violence, but they find a way to go with a lot of dark humor and funny lines. And so, like, Ella Purnell's got so many great lines that, are jokes. And then Walton Goggins is, the ghoul has got so many smart-ass remarks that he makes. So I think that the levity adds to a lot of, like, we're in a grim apocalyptic world, but we're still finding a way to crack jokes.
And I think also, and y'all brought this up right before we started recording, and I'm watching it, and I had to add a bunch more of my honorable mentions. And my top 10, I mean, could be replaced by any of my HRs. But the fact that Silo Season 2 opens with them getting into a new silo, and then we saw that in Fallout, I call my mom, like, I'm not saying they're copying. I'm just saying that they found a good way to keep the story going. But Greg, you kind of hit a really good point, like, on the head. And this kind of goes back to Silo, which I don't even have in my honorable mention, even though we're watching. My wife and I are actively watching Silo. We watch it every week. My wife's kind of hate watching now because she wants to see what happens, but she's like, I hate this show. But fuck.
Wait, season 2?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, Rebecca Ferguson's character is kind of insufferable sometimes. and it's too goddamn dark. Like I don't like Game of Thrones kind of started this, and now
Yes.
and now it's like, oh, we're in dark. We're gonna make everything dark. I was at my wife's computer watching the TV. I was working on my laptop, and I'm like, what the fuck is happening? She's like, I'm by the TV. I don't even know. Like we have to turn the lights off to try and watch what's happening. And I'm just like, but then you have Fallout, and it takes place, in silos, and you know what? You can see shit. You can see what's happening. It's like, oh, we're in a silo, we're underground, that's fine. It's like people were kind of going back to the Two Towers when they had that the giant fight at the end at night. It's pitch black, and you can still see everyone. Like Peter Jackson had everything lit. You can
Hey man, there
still
was a bright moon.
you can still light shit, and still like, oh, we're at dark. But Silo, and look, I love Steve Zahn. I love his character in Silo 2. He's fantastic. But I really wish that Nolan would just take a little bit of a playbook from Fallout and just throw an extra light bulb in there. Just a little extra lighting.
It is an artistic choice. It's funny you mentioned that because when I watched the first episode of Silo 2, I was literally like, "Can you please light it up? I know it. I know it's dead. I know it's
Like
not working.
brightness,
seriously,
brightness.
seriously, it's a TV show. We don't have to be that authentic. We need lighting that doesn't make any sense just because I want to fucking see the people that are doing shit. You know." But the love hate for Silo 2, and I know we're kind of getting a little sidetracked. It's real for me too because a lot of times it's like I love everything I'm getting, but I'm not getting enough. And it's like I seriously want more. I almost want to buy the books and read the books, but then if I read the books, I'm spoiling the story for me. I've already made the commitment to the show.
Yeah.
I know that they're going to have 2 more seasons, so I'm
Yeah.
happy about that.
Yeah.
But it's like sometimes it's like, okay, oh my god, no, don't stop talking about that. That was just and then just the realization of what they're doing there. But it was interesting because, like you said, I was saying, you've got these shows that are kind of similar with certain styles and techniques that everyone's using.
Yeah.
So how they interpret it. But yeah, it's almost like I want an option when you go dark so that I can go light. It's like my browser setting. I can go dark or I can go light. I want to go light.
I didn't think about this actually because I as ridiculous as it sounds, I did not put the correlation between these two shows that they're the same thing until we're having this conversation. But it's making me think of like, the meme that's out. I know, Bobby, I know you've seen it. The one they use it for football a lot, and they put the two guys in the room, and they're both looking. One's looking outside into the sun, and he's looking all happy, and the other guy's looking at the wall, and he's all depressed. And it'll say like, Cowboys fans in 1975, and it'll say like Cowboys fans now, like stuff like that, or like, guy that had Saquon Barkley in his team, guy that didn't have Saquon Barkley in his team. This is like, it's almost like one of the people who watch Silo, people who watch Fallout. Yeah. So the people watching Silo are the ones looking at the wall.
Well, it's true. Like even and Greg makes a great point. Like we were watching one episode and it just ended, and my wife goes, "Did you turn it?" I go, "No, it's over." She goes, "No, it's not over." I go, "No, it's over." That's the episode. She goes, "What the fuck?" it's already over. I'm like, yeah, and like it sucks because when like the political nerd in me loves when like the mayor's having his discussion with Common, like with the head of like those conversations are really okay. This is really interesting, and then like cuts to like Rebecca Ferguson going, "I can't get these shoes on." It's like, well, I can't fucking see you put your shoes on, so I don't even know what the hell's going on here. Go back to the mayor. I'm like I'm done with this. Like I'm like with the rebellion. Let's see the rebellion. I gotta find this switch. Don't give a shit. I want to see the rebellion. I want to see what's gonna happen. Let's focus on this.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun things that whole show has for different people, and I'm with you on that too. Where it's like I'm all like, wait, the idea that they've kind of figured out human nature, and there's like these are things that have happened many times, but we're repeating the same thing because this is the only way we keep the whole system still going.
Yes,
and still that it's one of those things too where it's like we know things they don't know, and sometimes like I just want them to connect the dots, and they're slowly starting to do that. And I have a feeling from what I was saying before, we're going to be very much pulled on a cliffhanger.
Oh yeah,
with this season. So be prepared to literally almost throw stuff at the TV when that season ends.
I've done that. I've done that almost twice now with 2 different shows.
I want to make sure we put a pin in Fallout though. Like, what do you guys think? Without knowing I don't want to. I want to make sure we try to glide through all these shows as much as we can without spoilers, as much as we can, even though we're trying to talk about full seasons here. But what do you guys think about where Fallout is going? Because they give us a total hint at the end of where we're going.
I liked it. So, like I said, not playing the game, so I don't know anything of the actual stories.
I don't either, but everything I've heard is that like apparently it goes bonkers, from going from one town to another.
Yeah, and I think the thing I liked about this whole season was it was a complete story.
Yeah,
you got the payoff for what happened in the beginning, and then it's ready to launch into the next one. Which I think sometimes for a lot of people we don't get that, and it's always questionable. But obviously, something like this show, because of the magnitude of what's being put together, you're usually not worried about there not being more than one season. But the reality is now too is that nothing is off the table. You can make the biggest show in the world, and it can get that was it. Thank you. We're done. We're not going to do anymore. Even if it was quote quote successful. So
and I already know Bobby's going to bring up one later.
But the whole thing for me was like I liked it. I thought the journey was really cool. It was interesting. I still have some confusions on the ghouls, their whole kind of like setup, and I was kind of hoping that they would talk a little bit more about it. But I have a feeling that'll hopefully come in the seasons to come. And that's just personal for me. It was like I always want to know, well, why do they become these things? Why is it that he has to eat this? It's still not completely clear to me. And then at the end, when the one
it's
character,
more like how is he alive and walking?
yeah. And then of course the whole thing is the other character that actually realizes that they become a goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
yeah.
All right. Well, we're gonna go on to one really quick that I know is not all three, but it's only two of us. But honestly, we talked about it on the last one, on our first half one. So for anyone that maybe didn't catch that one, Bobby and I did have like a first half of the year one earlier in 2024. So we don't need to probably dig into this one too much. Shogun, Bobby, we got. I mean, top 5 for me easily.
Yeah, that was my number one. That was probably my number one show of the year. But I mean, I have it at my number one because it was so well done. But honestly, it could, there are certain shows that could probably be better, be put above it. But that show is fantastic. That show is absolutely just from start to finish a beautiful season. The way it was shot, the acting, everything was just superb.
My other future wife asked why.
Yeah. I love the fact that they did it in in Japanese. That way you were forced to read the subtitles. You were forced to kind of be an outsider in their world.
Yeah.
I mean,
I feel we got a little bit of a history lesson, honestly.
We did. I mean, we did. And the fact that we're getting a season 2, I don't know how I feel about that, but I'm excited to see what they do.
Yeah, because the fact is now it's like now they're gonna go off the book. Like they're like, all right, we already did the book. Now we gotta come up with stuff. It's like, I don't know about this. So
being the one person that hasn't seen it yet, but does remember the original series when that came on TV and the whole idea of honorable suicide being presented to me as a kid, going like, what the heck did they just do? I believe that the author wrote 3 books. I think it's
okay.
I think there's 3 books in the series are somewhat connected. I am not familiar with it. We'd have to ask our friend Anna, who reads books, to tell me about that because I've stopped reading books.
The thing is, without being 100% certain on this, I seem to still recall reading that they're saying that this is going to be original writing. I don't think they're basing it on. If there are other ones, I don't think they're doing that.
And see, that'll be interesting because I think the biggest challenge.
Because I pretty much remember reading that one of the hangups that a lot of people are having is that they're coming up with this stuff on their own now.
Yeah, well, I think the biggest challenge too is when you have something that's done so well, the standard is so high, and now you're coming back from getting all those accolades and awards, and now everything's changed in the production side too.
Yeah,
how do you keep that up?
Yeah.
Because you have all these outside conditions that are not even part of the story, just part of the production that'll make a difference. But I know I've got to get on the bandwagon and watch it. So that
it only came out in February, Greg.
Yeah.
But I just to piggyback on what Bobby said, it's just like the thing that got me more honestly than I mean, I did like the story. I did enjoy how epic on scale it is, but in accordance with some of the other shows that I have higher, it's a little slow. You do have to really pay attention, which is not a bad thing, but I'm just saying, in going with comparing to other shows. But the thing that gets me almost the most is the human emotion and the characters and the interactions of all the classes and the different armies and everything, and the political fight for to be shogun and everything. It's just like that's the stuff that really I found interesting, is that there's so much meat to all the characters and it's one of those things that, like, I know. I think I said this before, and I know Greg doesn't do this, but I know a lot of us do. This is one of those shows that you cannot be on your phone. You cannot be like, oh, let me go through email, or oh, let me be texting someone. Like, you can't. Like, this show, you have to pay 100% attention, because first of all, because you have to read it, but also, like, there's so much going on. There's so many characters. There's so much relationships going on that you have to keep track of and stuff. So it forces you to really immerse yourself in it. You can't just like there's so many times it took me, for me personally, one of the longest people I knew to watch it, because it's one of those things you can't just like, oh, I have an hour, I'm going to slap this on really quick. It's like, no. You need to like sit down, fully pay attention, and have no distractions. And like a lot of times I just didn't have that option.
Yeah, I forced myself to get my work done faster so I could sit down and watch it.
So wouldn't you agree? Like, you can't just like hurry through it.
No, because like there are shows I can throw on and watch and listen to and not have to like be engrossed in it. With this, because you are watching it to read it, but also you have to make sure that you're understanding like what court you're in, which kingdom, who was the show, who was in charge, what okay, and so you had to like really pay attention to it, and it was it made you have to actually like sit down and like kind of like, because Netflix now is a thing where whenever you have a show on Netflix, they want you to always have the characters saying what they're doing, because they know people who are watching these shows aren't paying attention. I forget what they're calling it now, but it's basically like they know people are gonna be on their phones, so doing social media, not really paying attention. Shogun forces you. You can't be like you said, Eric. You can't be on your, you can't be like, oh, I'm just gonna, no. This is an hour that you have to watch and focus on. You cannot be doing anything else.
You bring up a good point, because I was just thinking, if you were, say, one person that has to deal with handicaps, and you're listening to like the creative descriptive audio, and you have to do audio backup because you're, it's the amount of work that you'd have to do on a show like that, because you seriously, there's, like I said, shows like this where like, oh, I can't snack on food because the crunch is too loud to what I'm doing, and like I'll notice sometimes I'll try to watch something I'm a little sleepy. I'm like, I dozed off and I missed subtitles. I've got to go back. It really is like, this is your homework assignment.
Yeah,
you're gonna like it, but you have to give it all. No interruptions.
I had to stop, almost stop watching it at night, because like there's a lot of times I'm getting ready to go to bed, or I throw it on too late, and I would fall asleep because you're reading a lot, and it's, like I said, it is kind of a slow show. So I most of the time either watched it if I was like early in the afternoon or like early in the evening. Like, I did not throw this on at like 10 o'clock at night almost.
No, it's always a day show. Always a day show. Because for me, it was slow, but it was slow in the fact that this is genuinely good pacing. Like, it's not rushing itself. It's taking.
Well, it's towards the end, but I'm saying like maybe like the first 3 or 4, like when they're trying to get everything going.
Pilot, sure, yes. The pilot took me like 2 watches to get through it.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't prepared for that. I was like, oh, it's gonna be another show, whatever. And then I'm like, oh shit. Okay, I have to actually pay attention. Okay.
Yeah. This one I'm giving to, in a way, to you guys. I'm gonna state for the record first that I have not finished this, so you guys can have at it, and I will drop my comments from what I've seen after we're done. You two both have Agatha All Along in your top.
Yeah, because it's fucking good, you heathen.
Okay.
It's a fucking amazing
if you
show.
Say so. Huh?
You don't mess with Patty LuPone. I can never say her name right. She's phenomenal. She's phenomenal in anything she does.
Her episode was heartbreaking. And I remember calling my mom, like, because my mom and dad were watching. My mom was like, like, be prepared. Be prepared, because, like, Catherine Hahn, I knew it was gonna be great no matter what.
Yeah.
And then you see everyone that's attached to the show, and you're like, okay, they're gonna be great. They're gonna be fantastic. But you don't realize the extent of, like, oh, they're putting their all into this. Like, Patty LuPone said that she had no idea what the fuck she was doing. She just gave it her all. I don't care if you knew or not. You stole every scene you were in.
That's the fun of the show, because it's one of those shows again where, like, we definitely don't know if there's going to be a second season, and if there is a second season, it could be a completely different thing, because it'll have Agatha. She's the main character.
Yeah.
But this group of witches, this whole story, hinged on the fact that you've got to be vested in what these characters bring, because you don't have a lot of time. It's a finite story, and it's moving ahead, and it's pushing to something else. So the fact that you can get the emotional response out of it from these characters in, was it 8 episodes, I believe?
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Was phenomenal. And it's got something for everybody. I mean, the music was awesome.
Oh God, when they had the
And I know much how Derek loves music. He's a big musical guy. He's just really into those songs.
Well, it wasn't nearly as bad as, like, show tunes, thankfully.
Well, but that's the thing. I mean, there was, but it was done in a clever way that hopefully people like you would actually not turn off and go, oh, I know what you're trying to do to me.
I just tough it out and be miserable.
I won't lie. The episode where they had Time in a Bottle playing at the end, I actually cried. I was actually crying at the end of it, because going through everything this year, every time that I've had to, like, watch a death on the screen, it's like, oh, this is tough, and then having that play, like, Jesus. But I do have to, like, everyone was great. You're right, Patty LuPone. Sashir Zamata as Jennifer. The fact that she's was a black wizard or witch, and she survived, like, was so good.
So against all the usual tropes, we always know who passes away, like, faster than anybody in those kind of movies.
Exactly. But and I do have, like, shit, I'm trying to think. Aubrey Plaza. There we go.
Yes, my future ex-wife.
She did such a good job. Both being, like, hamming it up as Death, but then also when we see Agatha's backstory, which is again heartbreaking, and then seeing Death tell Agatha's son, "No, give your mom a kiss." I was like, "Fucking hell!" Like, God damn it! Like, it's these little fucking things that just, like, I think any great comedy worth its weight, knows when to pull the pluck the heartstrings. Like, it's funny. Nope. Smash it back to reality. Funny. Smash it back to reality. And Agatha all along walked a very fine line of, this is a comedy, this is a drama, this will make you cry. And then just her and Patty and Catherine just did such a fantastic job with it.
It's a great cast, and then I give credit to the production crew, the costumes, the wardrobes, every episode, the sets. You could spend hours going through everything. The credit sequences. This was a show for people that really like Marvel. Yeah. It was a wonderful way to see how they interpreted these characters, because it's so different than what you have in the history of the comic books and everything else. But if you were someone that hasn't ever watched anything and was just curious, like, oh, I've got Disney Plus, what the hell is this? Because it's not, it's not your typical superhero stuff. No, it was really well done. And then just, there's so many different layers. So I mean, Derek finds the time, watches the whole thing, or maybe it'll come to you. But it was one of those shows where, like, it just kept getting better as it went through. And I was like, at the end, I was like, I was spent, but I was happily spent,
Well,
and
apparently from what you're saying, I only have one left because I'm on 8. So apparently that's all I have left. Well, I didn't know. All I know is it just keeps on going and it won't end.
And you know what, Greg, you made a great point there, because when I watched the pilot, I was a little hesitant. I'm like, oh shit, because you are still under that spell. Like, no one is really acting well. Like Catherine Hahn is like this, like when she's like the detective, it's very a very jilted performance. Like she's not really herself.
It's on purpose.
It's on purpose.
But it takes a while to realize that that's what they want. Again, allow me to do this. This is like a perfect example for True Detective season 2. You're not supposed to like the people. What they're doing is so good. It's making you not like it, but it's the goddamn best TV ever.
I can't figure out which show, if I had to, I'd watch again, because they were both, oh my God.
But once Agatha becomes Agatha, it's like you see like the light bulb switch, and like, okay, that's what they're doing. And then it's like, that was brilliant. And then just watching, I mean, even Joe Locke was great as I mean, it was the worst kept secret, but as Billy. And then watching that whole thing was like play out. I was like, that's like everything. Like there are no like happy endings for any of these characters. Like they're losing families, they're losing themselves. Like what is happening, and why am I watching this every week? And such like, oh, what's happening? Because it's so well done. And god damn it, Derek, you need to watch this goddamn show.
Dude, I've watched 7 episodes. You know how bored I am? I hate watch this show every week. I couldn't tell you the boredom that I go through.
Why?
It's only like 35 minutes, and it just it feels like a 2-hour show to me every week. I just don't care about anything. I don't care about them going down the road. I don't care about who dies. I don't care about them being successful. Like I just watched the tarot cards. I don't care if the swords were coming down. I don't care. Sure, skewer them all. I don't care. Like,
that was one of the best episodes. You didn't care?
No, I don't. And the thing I will make clear is I don't think the writing's bad. I don't think the acting's bad. Obviously the production value is wonderful. There's nothing on the surface of this show that I sit there and go like, this is a bad show. This is what I make sure clear to tell people when I've talked about this. I don't think it's a bad show. I'm just bored. I'm just so bored. I don't find anything interesting about this show. Like they had the episode where they had to do a freaking band song, karaoke number, whatever, to get out of the room. Oh my God. Great. So we're doing karaoke. Wonderful. Like, oh my God. And
it was fantastic.
It was great.
It was dumb as hell. I couldn't wait. I almost speed searched through it. I was like dying. My finger was about right here, about to go forward.
What is wrong with it?
They just kept singing and singing, and I'm like, please stop singing.
And I think here's the point to that, and this is the beauty, and it can be the frustration among friends sometimes when you don't understand why they don't get it. You're not in that space, and I totally accept that, because that's the whole thing. There are people that like shows and say this is the best show ever, and I go, I don't care at all about this show.
The only thing I can come up with that I still keep sticking to is because I think none of these characters have been introduced before. I have nothing invested in these characters.
Did you not watch WandaVision?
No, except for Agatha.
Oh.
She's the only one.
Well,
but like the rest of them were completely brand new, so I have nothing to have me embrace them or like them from something else. So they're just all like. So one of them comes. I'm still trying to be polite here with the spoilers. So one of them comes in and she dies in like 3 episodes, and I'm like, dude, we didn't even get to know her. Like, what do I care? It's like
we knew her. We knew her in WandaVision.
Was she? I don't even remember. See.
Yeah, she was in WandaVision.
And see, the thing is, that's the challenge. If they hook you, then you do care. But if they don't, I get that, and that's the thing. And I think the other thing too is it's like it's what you're looking to get out of it. And I think that's the biggest challenge sometimes, because when you have a show like this, it doesn't fit the normal Marvel show that we've had before.
Yeah.
And this is where it gets tricky for Marvel, because you are trying to entertain the kids that love the superhero stuff, which is great, but then you're also trying to open up the horizons of there's so much more,
Well, because like there's the two things. And I'll be interested to see how this plays out, because again, Jennifer Kale, the one who survives, her cousin is Ghost Rider. He's one of the Ghost Riders.
What?
Yeah, Jennifer Kale's cousin. Yeah, is one of the Ghost Riders.
You mean the new one, right? Not Johnny Blaze.
I forget which one.
Okay.
Which one is her cousin? But yeah, it's one of the. It's either Catcher or Blaze. And then the one thing I wish they would have done is don't get me wrong, Allion was fantastic as Alice Swoop, fantastic. I wish they would have used the mom from Runaways to bring in that witch. That would have been cool because Runaways was a fantastic show that got canceled way too quickly.
So that's what I was going to ask you about. So there's a connection to that character to Runaways, right?
No,
Her mom?
that's
He's
not.
saying
He
wished they would have.
I wish they would have connected.
They could, because that was the thing too. Is Runaways dealt with the mystical also?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Because I know what you're saying. Yeah, it was almost like it's such a big story, but in the sense of this story, it's in the background. It has to stay in the background.
Yeah, and Runaways. Who was the mom in Runaways? That was. Oh, who played? Brittany Ishibashi played Minoru. Yeah, like I really wish they would have used like that connection to Runaways because the staff, all that could have been really cool. But maybe season 2. Who knows?
No, I mean I'll finish it because now that you've let me realize that all I have is one more to go. Thank God.
Yeah, 2 more.
And it's like I said, like, huh?
You have 2 more. It's 10 episodes.
Oh, he just said 8.
Well, he
I
missed
said I was
out.
guessing. It's been a while since I've seen
Well, no,
it.
if it's 10, then it's 3 more.
Just sit your ass down and watch them.
Yeah.
Oh my God, 3 more.
Yeah.
Jesus. Maybe there'll be more musical numbers. Can't wait.
Calm down, Butters.
Jesus. Maybe they'll do a cooking show or something, or maybe they'll fold laundry next. Great, more riveting stuff. Anyways, all right, let's go on to an actual good show. Oh, I'm kidding. Definitely, probably my second favorite show of the year. I went back and forth between this being my first, but I have to go with my second. The Penguin.
Yes.
Greg, take it away on this.
So Penguin was one of those shows where, okay, I watched the first episode and I really, really liked it. And I said, okay, I'm going to come back and I'll watch it as it goes. And all of a sudden, I just got distracted. I stopped watching. And I kept hearing people, oh my God, the second episode. Oh my God, the third episode. And for whatever reason, I was kind of, oh, okay, that's good. I think I'm going to wait till literally the whole season's together to watch it. So
You didn't watch it?
No, I didn't. And I love what I saw, but I was one of those things where, like, again, I was busy with other things in life, and I just said,
Bobby, can you close this box? We're just going to go on the two of us.
But I did finish watching it. I did watch the whole show. When the last episode came out, I went and I watched it over that
so
weekend.
now you've watched it.
Yes, I watched all of it. I just didn't watch it every week it came out.
No, I just asked you. I said, so you didn't watch it? And you said yes.
No, I said I didn't watch it when people were watching it the regular.
That's fine, as long as you eventually did. That's all I care about.
Every show I gave you on my list, I've seen all the shows that have been aired.
Okay.
I made that qualification.
Okay.
Because I could have said other shows were great, and I haven't watched them. So no, I watched every episode. I loved it. That opening sequence where they had
the timing doesn't matter. You can take as long as you want, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. You know, but again, it was one of those things like it was a beautiful story. I've heard people say, "Well, it's been
beautiful, really."
Yeah, because it's just if you look at things from like
it's a fucked up story. What are you talking about?
But it's a beautiful story in the sense of like that's the kind of thing that people like. The people like The Sopranos. The people like gangster stories. They like the anti-hero. They like these issues of like where you're seeing people like you're rooting for somebody that is still a dick at the end who pushes everything to put themselves in that point where like I want the fucking movie to come out. I want the next Batman. I want to see Patterson. I want to see him glisten like a vampire in Twilight. I want to see that shit because this is so good. And the fact, like I said, that everybody was like, they don't realize who's playing the Penguin for a while. It's a testament to the acting, to the prosthetics, to everything about it and what they did because it could have gone wrong so much. And then just the delight in just seeing these characters come to the screen, how they put everything together, and show you that Gotham and the city that was created for Batman, you don't need Batman. You can have so much going on without it. And that's been a testament to the people that like the comic books and love DC writing. Because I was always a kid, people said, if you wanted a good written comic book, you read DC. If you wanted to see the most amazing art, you read Marvel. Again, this one showed, here's good writing, here's good performing, here's something that'll just blow you away. So I was really happy with it. I thought it was good, but I waited to the end to do the binge. That was a different change for me. I didn't do it every week.
Binging's terrible, but okay.
Yeah.
Oh, we go over this every week, Greg. You're like, you binge? You're like, yes, we binge. It's all there.
Hey man, at least I stick to my guns. You can't say I'm.
Oh no, you are a man of your convictions, Derek. You are a man of your convictions, and I applaud you for that.
I can respect that too. I have my setups too. But
I mean,
yeah,
Greg has. Hey Bobby, ask Greg if he's ever watched a TV show on a laptop.
Have you ever watched a TV show on a laptop?
Only because I think I had to out of necessity.
Okay.
Greg is a screen. Greg's a screen snob.
That's fair. That's fair.
You know, it's one of the things where like when they started putting graphics at the end of the corner of the TV shows to tell you what was coming on ABC next and everything, I'd be like, that's not part of the fucking story. Don't put shit on the TV that's not there. I want to see the goddamn image the way it was presented to be. So
Greg has a large like DVD collection of like the TV shows. Like he's like, this is how it's meant to be seen with nothing.
Yes. Who lamented this year when I found out that Samsung has stopped making Blu-ray players. I'm like, no.
Really?
Yes, it's scary. It's going to be scary times for people with physical content media. It's like,
wait, but that's Samsung, right? Other people can make them, right?
There's literally no one else making them right now. I think Sony stopped a while back. Yeah, so it may become a third company that's like unfortunately has the willingness but may not have the technical specs. So
that's crazy.
I don't know what's going to happen. It's going to be times for that.
Yeah.
But
anyways, Bobby, give your take on it.
I mean, Greg kind of nailed it. I mean, it was brilliant writing. Again, like anytime I can get Ashley to watch a show that isn't a horror show, I'm like, this is fucking good. And we watched the first one. And she's like, "Oh, that's really good. When's the second one come out?" I'm like, "Oh, we have 3 shows. All right." And like she fell asleep like halfway through. She like, "Turn it off. I want to finish it." I'm like, "All right, that's fine." The fact that he is the Penguin, and it's a derogatory term towards him because of the way he walks, and we see this build up to at the end. He is the Penguin, tuxedo, top hat. It's this brilliant march to like the end, and when like the way it plays out between him and Sophia, it's brilliant. But the way it plays out between him and Victor, that is heartbreaking, and the fact that he realizes that if he's going to be this monster, he has to cut out his heart, so to speak, and that's Victor. You're like, oh, god damn it. Oh, and this dude like
I think he's a shithead.
Huh?
I think he's a shithead. I wish nothing. I hope he comes back in the second Batman, and I hope terrible things happen to him.
To the Penguin?
Yes, because the way the show ended, he's an awful person. He kind of had me. He had my sympathy, and then the way the finale goes, nope, now you can burn in hell.
No, he's the Penguin.
No, I know, but I think they did a really good job of us liking him, and then it's like, oh, by the way, this is who he really is.
Well, and you know, it was one of those things where we always knew who he was, especially with the backstory of, he killed his brothers. Like, this is a man that kills for what he really wants, and he has no sympathy or apathy or empathy for anything or anyone.
That story with his brothers was grim, man. That was some grim shit.
And like when his mom wanted him dead, and then like she like the gangster saved him. Like there are these moments where like, oh, he should be dead, but because he's the Penguin, and even Ashley was like, are we supposed to like him? He's a bad guy. I'm like, yes and no. Like we're supposed to be rooting for him against these other bad guys. Yeah. But in the general sense, no, he's a bad guy. He's a very bad guy. And then you feel horrible for Sophia because she got royally fucked and became the bad guy because she was like. I love the duality of the two characters because the Penguin is a bad person. Like from childhood to now, he's always been bad. He would do anything for his mom, but he's always been a bad seed. Sophia, on the other hand, was a good person, born into a shitty family, but she was always a good person and then turned bad because of the fact that her father was a serial killer, which I thought was a really interesting little take there. But the scene where she kills her family except for her niece. I mean, the glee she took in putting on the gas mask and opening the doors and just like airing everything out. She's like, fuck you and fuck you and fuck.
But the fact that at least her niece survived, so she still has a heart.
Yes, exactly. She still has a heart for certain things. and Kristen Milotti. It's hilarious seeing her in her comedic roles because she's funny, and this goes back to my thing that comedians make the best dramatic actors. She's hilarious, but when you see her in the show, she is like cold and calculating, and like when she kills her dad's right hand man in front of everyone, like, no, this is the new family, and it was like, can I have the money now? Like, we're with you, we're with you, we don't give a shit. Like, we have the money now. She's like, have it, it's yours. I don't give a fuck. I'm like,
I think without trying to. Oh, what?
I was just saying, it's a fun thing about this show that they did so well is show that mental illness can just lead people to these things, and the realization, because it's like, well, okay, this person has this kind of complex, this person has this kind of complex. Sophia's character is like put into a complex where it makes her become that creature, become that thing. It's a new dawn of how they show this, because before it was like hinted at. This show definitely showed that, because to me, I was like, as a henchman, I'd be like, you realize we're dying every episode? Like, this family's gone all of a sudden now? Why would I want to stick around for what's next? Allegiance to what? Like I said, let me take the money and go to Metropolis. I don't need this shit.
Exactly. Like, is Star City hiring? I mean, I'll go to Star City. Like, the worst that will happen is, the Flash will carry me out to, the outer banks of the Sahara, and I'll travel home. That's fine.
Yeah.
I just like the way that, like I said, without specifics, but the thing that I like how this ended Gotham-wise for the show.
Yeah.
Like, they really, whether we get a season 2 or not of the Penguin, I think the thing that's beautiful about this is they could easily transpire what happens at the end of this show into another Gotham series for another character, or the Batman movies, or whatever. It's just like they set up Gotham in general. They don't necessarily set up the Penguin universe or whatever. They're setting up Gotham in general.
Well, so I do know Colin Farrell loves the character but hates the suit, and he said he said he doesn't want to do another TV show, but he'll come back for movies. And his contract was for a trilogy and a TV show.
Yeah.
So
I don't think he's going to come back. But like I said, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm already not betting on a season 2. But the thing is, they could easily keep this show going, and they could just turn it into something else. Because Gotham's got so many characters. They could bring Sophia back. They could bring, other characters back, and just not have the Penguin, have everybody else.
So this was supposed to be, I think, originally there was a GCPD show that was going to come out.
I remember that one. Yeah,
2 shows. Yeah,
2 shows, and so this one got pushed into the Penguin, and the way that it ends, you're right, because he's like, there's nothing that can stop us now. And as it pans back, and you see Gotham, then you boom, the bat symbol lights up the sky. Like, okay,
yeah,
I don't give a shit what happens next. All I know is I do want to see Pattinson. Although it is interesting though, because I do know that the Batman 2 got pushed back to 2026, which sucks. However, the Gunverse, like, we got Creature Commandos, which that's not on my top 10 because it's not over yet. So I kind of wanted to wait. But if you haven't watched Creature Commandos, it's really good, and Gunn is really setting up these universes. But Clayface will have his own movie. And I am praying that Alan Tudyk plays him, because Alan Tudyk does his voice twice now. He does his voice in Creature Commandos and in Harley Quinn. And if there's one person who can play multiple characters, it's Alan fucking Tudyk.
Yeah, and he's brought up recently in some of the interviews they had how much fun it's playing a character that everyone knows, but can be so many different ways. So playing him on Harley Quinn for laughs.
Yeah,
but then playing him on Creature Commandos as a cold-blooded
killer. Yeah.
It's the same, but it's not the same. So I agree with you. He is one of those wonderful, wonderful actors, and I love him on Resident. Was it Resident Alien?
Resident Alien. My mom loved that one. I haven't watched it yet, but real quick, he also does the voice of Dr. Phosphorus on Creature Commandos, and with that, he's also a stone cold psychopathic killer. With hilarious comedic timing, and it's because Alan Tudyk's voice is so good, because he plays a skeleton, like a walking skeleton basically, and they're like, "Are you smiling?" Is he like, "It looks like I am, doesn't it?" But I'm not. And you're like, "Oh shit, is this looking like?" He does such a great job. But there is one. And then Derek, I'll let you push on to the next episode, next show. But there is one. There's a great one shot. There's a series of one shots. Greg, I don't know if you ever read them, called One Bad Day.
I've heard of it, but I haven't read it.
So it's like 8 one shots done by different writers and artists. Where it's concentrating on one villain and like just one day, like one bad day for them. And like so like with Ra's al Ghul, it was like him actually taking care of a pack of wolves that he loved. Because like Ra's al Ghul is kind of like an eco-terrorist. Because you see like him like from when he was a child, like this wolf saved him, and so he has kept this like lineage of wolves alive for like hundreds of years because he loved the mom. That's it, and it's amazing. The Clayface one, Clayface almost gets what he wants, but he can't help himself when he wants something and doesn't get it. He kills like the producer and becomes a producer. So he's like splitting himself between the producer and the director, and like he can't do it. And so when Batman finally captures him, the ending is heartbreaking because he's in Arkham and he has split himself off into everyone he's killed, and he's apologizing to them all. And he's turning and apologizing to the girl he loved, wow. The director, the producer. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And it's just him going, like, saying he's sorry to everyone he killed, like, on his way up to the top. And it's like, you're like, God. I'm like, I want this because it's from the guy. It's from the guy who did the Haunting of Bly Manor. Like that dude from the Netflix like haunted show. He's like, this will be a horror movie. Like this will be horrific. It's gonna be horror and scary. I'm like, let's do this. Yeah, Penguin was fantastic. And fucking hashtag justice for Victor, because man, Victor got fucked.
Yeah. I the only thing I wanted, because there's pretty much nothing I really need to say. 2 things. One, I'm torn between Kristen Milioti and Ella Purnell for my favorite actress of the year. And also, my simple thing would be to, by some chance someone's listening to this and you are on the fence of not watching The Penguin yet, basically it's as simple as, if you like the Batman movie, this is basically just an extension of the Batman movie. Like all the feeling and the sets and the mood and everything of the Batman movie is just like this. So it's like, basically, if you hate the Batman movie, you probably shouldn't bother watching this. If you loved it, then you need to hurry up and jump on this. It's perfect.
I will disagree with that, because you can not like the Batman movie because you didn't like Pattinson as Batman, but if you like the vibe of the Batman movie,
fair enough. If you know what I'm saying, there's so much correlation. This is just like another extension of the movie, like the style of the writing, the mood of the show, the way it looks and everything, what happens. It's like it's basically just an extension of the movie.
Well, I think you hit on the head of saying where it's like, here's a character that we only have in a movie for maybe 2 hours, 3 hours tops, and yet we're able to find a way to tell more stories in that city that we find interesting. Yeah. So I think, like you said, maybe it won't be Colin because he has his issues with the suit, which we regrettably understand. That's just how it is. But maybe the Joker that everyone wants isn't going to be in the movie. Maybe the Joker's in a series like this where you can really put yourself together and tell it. We've established that they can do it. Yeah. So there's a lot we can do, and you don't need the Batman to actually be there. He can just be in the shadows of things.
Like, so, and if you want a great example of that, don't watch the shitty movies, but read the Brian Azzarello trade Joker, and the whole miniseries. It's like a graphic novel. I mean, is the Joker's wheelman picking him up, and like the Joker's like, I need to go a few places, and it's just like the Joker like going and visiting like all like Killer Croc, Riddler, Harley Quinn, skinning a detective alive and like throwing him on a stripper pole. Like there's some messed up things, but like you can have a series where it's just the Joker like doing all this shit, regaining his, and then the whole thing is the fact that he can't get Batman to laugh. It's like it'd be a great miniseries.
All right, boom. Okay, we're good. I don't know, Greg, if you've watched this one before, but it's on me and Bobby's list. Although mine's gonna be a little weirder for this. Shrinking on Apple TV.
Ah, so fucking good.
So wait, I want to say really quick though. So mine's gonna be a little weird for this because you already know. So I'm late to this.
Yes.
I'm on the finale of season 1, and people are gonna be like, okay, well then you don't know what's going on for season 2. But I went to a screening for season 2, and I saw like episode 8 or whatever. So I've kind of got a flash forward of like stuff I already have known happened and stuff. So there's no real big spoilers. My point of all this is, I feel even though I'm talking about season 1, I watched one episode of season 2. It's all been good.
Yeah.
It's like I don't care. I'm doing whatever the hell I want. It's technically last year. I don't give a shit. I'm saying Shrinking's in my top 10 of the year.
No, season 2 has been fantastic.
And it just finished, right?
It just finished.
Yeah.
I was very like, oh god, I hope this doesn't happen. What I think is going to happen, and it, it does a quick 180. Everyone in the show is fantastic. This is probably Harrison Ford's best acting performance.
He's so good. He is so good.
There is a scene in the finale, because the finale takes place on Thanksgiving, and everyone's kind of saying what they're thankful for, and he's like, "I'm here against my will," and then later on he goes, "I didn't go," and everyone's like, "What?" He's, "I didn't go. I didn't say what I was thankful for," and he stands up and he gives this monologue, and it's so heartfelt. Like you can see Harrison Ford is dealing, in a way dealing with his own age, because he is old, and he's grappling with that, and everything in this show is just like, oh my god. And then the janitor from Scrubs, I can't think of his name right now. He's in this season, and he's
nice.
Because he plays Harrison Ford's friend.
Didn't he show up at the end of season 1? Because I feel like I already saw him.
Yeah, he
showed up like episode 9, I think.
Yeah, he's Harrison Ford's. He's his client. And
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and in season 2, basically like Harrison Ford's like, I've cured you. You're cured. You're just paying me to be your friend now.
Yeah.
And he goes, Can we still be friends? Like, no. And so like, Jason Segel, works out. So we're like, no, you need a friend. And so they hang out, and it's a beautiful show about what family is, what friendships are, what relationships, mental health, like the fact that I still have to go see a therapist. Like I know I need to, but there's all these things that it's all kind of wrapped into a funny show that also does say like, hey, if you need help, fucking lean on someone. Like, reach out to someone, and it's a really wicked fucking good show.
The thing that I keep telling people, that because like I said, I've been on a little tangent of it lately because I've been delving into it. The best thing about this show is it's dealing with very dramatic, very serious issues, but it's finding a way to be funny, and that's not easy. Like, and it's not making stupid jokes. It's not making fart jokes. It's like, it's not got like a, some buffoon like Joey Tribbiani kind of character or anything. It's like it finds a way to have, like, Jessica Williams is outstanding. Like, she delivers such great lines. And her delivery is so. I mean, granted, she's saying what they're giving her, but her delivery just is so amazing. But the way that they are able to, there's so many times they'll have a really serious scene, and then someone will crack a joke and they'll add levity to it, and then you're like, you kind of like breathe, like, oh yeah, so that's one of the biggest things that I think that this show does, is it's adding humor and levity to very serious human issues. Kind of, of course, no surprise, it's very similar to Ted Lasso in that sense, because Ted Lasso was also very serious and would crack jokes. No surprise, but it's kind of, I feel Ted Lasso was more encapsulated in the thing around the team and around, them being teammates and putting together to win a champion. Like, it was more of like that little bubble of the team. This is more of like all these friends and then their friends and their family members. It's like it branches out into other people's family members and other people's. It goes to Harrison Ford's ex-wife, and like like you get I forget, what is the guy that lives with him?
Oh, yeah. I can't think of the one who owns the food truck now. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, but his character, like we get it to his dad and his
Mhm.
that stuff. So it's like it finds a way to not just stay in the bubble of the main characters. You get the supporting characters too.
Well, not even
So,
that, but not even that real quick. But like it does, like Harrison Ford's girlfriend. Like we meet her
right.
I mean, I'm not gonna say husband, who he's suffering from Alzheimer's. So we meet him in a moment, and it's really sad. We meet Kobe. Speaking of finding humor in dark situations or humor to get us out of situations, there's a scene between Jason Segel and Kobe Smulders, who has a scene in Shrinking season 2. Obviously, How I Met Your Mother. They were together. And there's a great scene where he's like, oh, my wife's dead, right? And she goes, oh, my husband's dead too. And he's like, oh my god, what happened? She goes, oh no, he's dead to me. We're divorced. And he's like, oh, and he's like, no, mine's actually dead. Mine car accident. And she's like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. He's like, no, that's fine. Like, what happened? He's like, what? Why is he dead to you? And she like, that best friend that I always tell you don't worry about. Well, they fucked each other, so that I had to worry about that. Like stuff like those type of little things where like you shouldn't laugh, but you laugh at it.
Yeah.
And but it's not like you said. It's not a fart joke. It's it's a human reaction because people do put their foot in their mouth and they don't mean to. Like, oh my god, like because she's like, oh my.
There's a lot of that. I didn't think about. Yeah, there's a lot of people putting their foot in their mouth in the show.
And they're like, oh my god, I'm sorry. And then I have to give it up to Ted McKinley as Derek. I
give him props to the guys named Derek. Thank you.
He like both Dereks, because there are two Dereks. It's Ted McKinley and Damon Wayans Jr. is the Black Derek or Derek number 2. And they're both they're amazing, and every line that Ted McKinley has as Derek is just, he delivers it just spot on. He is the perfect supportive husband, and it deserves all the awards and more.
And if people don't know him by name, throwback to frickin' Marcy's husband on Married with Children. So it's so great to see him he's still doing a fun role, but he does have a lot of serious pull in this show also.
Especially season 2. Oh.
Well, I have to watch it. I have not watched it yet. I am a Bill Lawrence fan, though. I was big on Scrubs. That was one of my favorite shows. And I remember when I first watched it, I didn't like it, and it took a couple episodes, but then it clicked. And I've enjoyed the stuff, and I like Cougar Town.
Same.
Which was really a lot of fun. And he's an interesting person. And again, he's aligned himself with a lot of great actors that have come through his different shows. So it's always nice to see him bringing one together. And I definitely do want to see this one, but it is also the same thing where I was just like, okay, Harrison Ford's back. That's cool. I'll get to that. And I haven't got to it yet. So, but I've heard all the good things about it. So I am planning to watch it eventually. Hopefully I can catch up with it sooner than later. But it's just one of those things from what I've heard and who you got on there and everything. Yeah. And especially Tim McKinley, it's like he's one of those actors who's paid his dues. He has been through television so much now that it is like breathing to him pulling those things. Because there used to be, I remember, not a meme, but there was a warning, was if he showed up on one of your shows as a guest star, your show was going to get canceled. He was a show killer. They used to joke. It's like, if you brought him in, your show was out. So it's so interesting that now that's not the case anymore.
No.
No. I had one of those ones. I had one of those ones where I randomly went to a panel for it, and it's one of those things where sometimes these things really do work when you go to these things for awards consideration, you get introduced to something new, and I know, Bobby's not the only one. I've had plenty of other people tell me to watch it too, but it's one of those, when you actually get it thrown at you and you watch it, I'm just like, oh, okay, this is really good. Oh shit. And the only thing I give you crap for, Bobby, if you would have told me a half hour, I probably would have jumped on it sooner. I thought it was an hour show.
No, it's half hour.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying that makes it a lot easier to digest and go through faster.
I was going to say, a lot of his shows are half hour. I don't think he's done any hour shows, actually.
I don't think so. No.
I think all his stuff has been half hour.
No, but I'm saying that's why one of the reasons sometimes that it hesitates you to jump on a new show. It's like, oh, I don't have the time. It's like a half hour. It's like, oh, you can do a half hour.
Yeah. And
what?
Sometimes these half hour shows don't feel like half an hour. Sometimes they drag. I sit there and I'm like, oh my God. And I'm watching without commercials. I'm like, oh my God, come on. You know,
Finally, props to Lakita Maxwell, who plays Jason Segel's daughter, who
Yes.
is the youngest member of the cast, and she holds up wonderfully with all these adults. So, you know, it's amazing thinking about it, how this, you know, young girl is holding up with all these veteran actors. So,
Yeah.
And she's ridiculously hot. Anyway.
Also, let's move on.
Yeah. So final one that we're doing of our combined little stint here, and I saved it for last because it's my personal favorite.
Oh,
I'm doing a reveal. Bam! Yes. Oh yes. Bring it on. Amazon's The Boys. My personal favorite show of the year. Like I said, it was very close to The Penguin.
Yeah.
The only thing I want to say really quick is I met a lot of people at New York Comic Con and some other cons that like people, you know, saying like, oh, this is just a setup. They're just setting up for for the last season. It's all prologue. This is just all filler. And I'm just like, I don't know what fucking show people are watching. I don't. Like, I understand that intellectually, but it didn't feel like that to me at all. And I honestly don't understand where people are getting that from. Like, it just felt like a progression. They're still going through the motions. The story's still continuing, and we're still going. It didn't feel like, okay, wait, let's stop and do this season so we can end it. No, it just felt like another season and another installment of this wonderfully fantastic show. I could probably go on about it for way too long, so I'm going to let you guys go because I'm just going to say that Anthony Starr is still getting denied his Emmy, and I hope this year he finally maybe gets a nomination. I love Karen Fukuhara, and I love just so much about this show, and there's nothing about it to where I watch it and I'm just like, oh, well, it's, you know, they're getting towards the end. This is really going downhill. No. So, yeah. So why don't you guys take it away?
I'm going to say I didn't have it in my top 10 because I actually forgot about it because Derek reminded me that I forgot. Like I said at the beginning of the show, there's been so much good TV that I've actually forgotten a lot of this. And it's been, like I said, a weird year, so I forgot about it. But before I kick it over to you, Greg, each season does feel like its own graphic novel. Like you have a good beginning, a good middle, a good end, and then a good cliffhanger. And again, you're like, oh shit, like this is it, like how are they gonna get out of this? And then I have to wait for the next book. That's fine. I think you're right. I think Anthony Starr does, like, he is such a fucking psycho in this, and he's so good in it.
He doesn't even have to win. Just give him a nomination at this point. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I will say, I loved the fact that at the beginning of the show, you know, Eric Kripke had to come out and say, no, Homelander is the bad guy. Like, if you're putting, you know, the orange dude's face on Homelander, that makes sense because that's the bad guy. He is the bad guy. And it was like, you're making fun of conservatives. Since day one, we like the fact that no one was getting this leaves reading comprehension, media comprehension has gone bye-bye. Like, no one fucking understands anymore. And they're like, oh, but he's Homelander, he's Superman. No, he is the bad guy. The boys are the good guys. They're the fucking title on the show. If Homelander was good, it'd be the Homelander show. Like, no one is grasping that. And I mean, the way that everything played out this year, I mean, the show could have been more prophetic with the election, but I mean, it's just one of those things like, all right, where do they go from here? I know that they're, correct me if I'm wrong, Greg, I know they're working on season 2 of V. I know they had to rewrite some
That's
stuff.
already done.
It's done? Okay,
Yeah.
guys.
It's done.
Yeah,
they finished in like July or August, I think.
But
Okay,
there are some issues because of the unfortunate death of one of the actors.
Yeah.
One of the characters that has affected it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they announced a spinoff from season 4. The character that was introduced with
Aya Cash.
yeah, and they're
That's
going to
right.
do that, and that's a retro. And then there's also the animated series, which they're also, I understand that there is talks to do more of that too, because there's so much they can do with this show.
Yeah.
And the world and stuff. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but no, like the boys, it made my honorable mention just because it was great, but there were some shows that came out this year that took me by surprise, or that they kind of bumped it to the but still, it has not lost its step. I think people that were saying it lost its step were the people that were mad that they realized that they were being made fun of.
It's an interesting thing because this is not about the show itself, but I think it's a way we watch TV now, where we are plugged into podcasts like this, social commentary about the shows we're watching that become their own narrative, and in some ways cloud to most extent of how we should be watching a show, because they want to push an agenda of what their opinion is. So when it was announced that, oh, the show's wrapping up, then they were like, oh, well, none of this will be any good. It doesn't matter because next season obviously is going to be the season you're going to want to watch.
Yeah.
And I would say this is one of those shows where I'm kind of same thing. I watched it. It was fucking amazing. But then after I finished watching, I put it away. I totally didn't think about it,
Yeah.
you know? And it's one where I actually want to go back and watch it again, because there were things where I'm all like, totally didn't see that coming. I was all like, how do you stop this person? And all of a sudden, they figured a way to stop that person. And I was like, no fucking way they did that. And it was just so well put together. It's so well, again, with the twist and the turns, and the things of the characters. I'm horrible with the names of everybody practically at this point, but I will say when Quaid's dad, that was played by our
not Nick Frost, the other one.
yeah, no, I know you're talking about Huey. He actually was who Huey was based off of. Yeah.
Yeah, in the comics, a few of the comics. Yeah. But him dying and then meeting the mom and seeing that whole okay. Ooh, it just hit me. Give me a second. My father passed away a couple years now.
Yeah.
That episode really hit me.
Mm-hmm.
It is just TV.
Mm-hmm.
But it meant so much. Yeah. It connected. And when something does that, it's a special thing. It's a treasured thing. I mean, this show was so much, but I just remember that episode, like I said, hit me.
Yeah.
Still does.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what they want to do to you. That's what they want.
Exactly, they do. And then then they have an episode where goats are flying around attacking and killing people and blowing up.
Oh my god, that episode with the freaking animals.
Well, like I said earlier, and you know, Greg, you touched on right there, is the fact that I remember when that episode came out, I called my mom right after. I go, have you watched it? She goes, no. I'm like, you're gonna have to go take a beat. Take a beat, because that came out August, July.
Probably.
I think it was.
I know they were done by October, because by the time I got to New York Comic Con, they were done.
Yeah.
I think it was before. I think it was in July, because I think it was that episode before Comic Con in San Diego.
Yeah, and so and you know, because I was, you know, we're just 3 months out of my brother passing. I told my mom, hey, you're gonna be prepared. Just brace yourself. And I was in here crying, and you know, my wife walked in and she was, are you okay? I'm like, no, I'm not. But then any good writers, they'll grab your heartstrings, yank them out, and then they'll throw them back in with flying goats that are trying to kill you. Okay.
And it's the beauty of the thing that we kind of talk about, and I think we kind of hit on with some of these shows. Life is tough. Life is hard.
Yeah.
As much as we like to say, oh, be positive and be happy, and God bless it, we try to do that. The reality is it's not. And so comedy is always a defense mechanism for me.
Yep.
We're using that to pull ourselves back from the abyss that we always go to sometimes.
Yeah.
Because at one point, all you can do is laugh about it, or you just go. I'm
so glad you say that, Greg. My dad's always like, now's not the time to be laughing. I'm like, I have to laugh, or else I'm gonna
Does he?
Oh, my dad's always like, he's like, now's not a humorous time.
Oh boy.
I'm like, if I don't, because I'm like, Greg, that's my defense mechanism. I'm gonna make jokes. I'm gonna I'm literally the reason why they have Spider-Man he said the reason why I quip so much is if not, I'm gonna throw up my mask. I have to make jokes to keep myself busy while I'm fighting, or else I'm gonna throw up and poop myself. I make jokes in inappropriate moments to keep myself sane. And so I'm glad Greg and I are on the same page with that.
Yeah.
I try to, but my jokes are bad. So
That's true, they are.
They are pretty bad, my friend. But
I know,
don't worry.
but I try at least, you know.
Hey, keep working. Someday you're going to hit one. Or at least the good thing is a lot of the people around you will be kind and still laugh anyway.
Yeah, I know. They go, "Oh, Derek." And for the record, Simon Pegg. That's who it was.
There we
Simon
go.
Pegg.
Simon Pegg.
There we
Thank
go.
you.
I as a throwback to what you're saying, because we've all, you know, Greg and I both lost our dads, and you know, Bobby unfortunately lost his brother recently, but not in the. I remember feeling something from that episode, but going back to actually just because of what we just said, it's not the same thing. I know exactly, but Shrinking kicks my ass a lot because he's always talking about his dead wife.
Yep.
And even though my dad it's a different thing, but he's still talking about loss, and he'll talk about memories with her, or you know, things that happen. And so because it's the show I've been watching recently, that thing on the regular keeps kicking my ass, because that show, at least in the first season, he's so much dwelling on his loss with her a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, the daughter does too and stuff. So yeah.
No, it's one of those things where, you know, it you don't mean to dwell on it, but you can't help but dwell on it, because it like, you know, little things just come up and you're like, fuck, you know.
And that's the power of the medium. We are telling stories, and stories about the human condition are going to dwell on tragedy among the things that we pull together. Because if you look at writing, you got to have a conflict. You've got to have something usually to make what's called a great story, or an epic transformation from where you start to where you finish.
The two masks of theater are drama and comedy.
Yeah.
To put a bow on this one, I almost forgot. Like I said, I don't want to go off about the show too much, but I cannot leave without saying Valerie Curry, Firecracker. Holy Christ, one of the best characters on any show in the last year.
And I felt so bad for her, because comments people were coming up to her and asking the most rude things, and then the comments were like, "Well, then you should be an actress." I'm like, no. The fact that we still have at Compalooza, we have signs saying cosplay does not equal consent. It's like, what is happening?
Yeah, but she was
so
fantastic. Good. Yeah. I almost forgot this one. I don't think will take as long. I actually forgot one. So the tail end of our top list, me and Bobby both has as a honorable mention, but Greg had it in his top. I have not finished it, I will admit, but we have to bring it up. What We Do in the Shadows, last season. Swan Song. I'm on episode, I think 6, 7, so I'm almost finished. Huh?
I finished it.
Yeah.
Did you see the bonus stuff? Bobby?
Bonus stuff.
So without giving too much away, because Derek hasn't watched it.
Yeah.
But when
Nadja, the audience, Greg, don't forget the audience.
Well, I was just figuring that audience probably watch it, but you're right. So Nadja does a hypnosis at the end of the season. Remember? There was more than one. So they dropped it the week after, because I'm following one of the directors of the show on social media.
Yeah.
And she said, "Oh, by the way, if you like this, check this out." So if you go to Hulu, I think, and you go to extras, they have them.
Oh, I gotta watch
wait, it's not another episode, right? It's just bonus footage?
No. These were other segments that would have fit in the episode, because it basically, again, it's one of those things where this is a show that I would love them to come back out and do the super episodes where they do the hey, here's the episode we cut down for whatever time we want to cut to, because it's weird in these days and ages that they still cut to a certain time. When it's a streaming show, they can do an hour, they can do 10 minutes if they wanted to, and call that an episode. But they cut certain things, and this was one of those ones where here's the bonus stuff that we didn't use, but we still filmed and we still put together for your enjoyment. And it's you just see that, and it's like, this is a show that has been a delight from start to finish. And it was one of those ones too where I didn't know what to expect from it, because I thought the movie was so well done, and I just didn't know what they were going to do. But they found their own voice, and they had so much fun. And the only thing that just makes me sad is knowing that it's over
Yeah.
Who knows what will come? Because, like I said, everybody thought Ted Lasso was done, and now we're talking about Ted Lasso again.
Yeah.
So my hope is there'll be different things coming forward, but I thought that for what they were doing, for what they wanted to do, it was brilliantly done. The episodes have been great. The introduction of the monster has been hysterical. That guy is great. I don't know what else he's done, but he's great. I like I said, I love the mythology of what they do. I love the vampire councils.
Yes.
Everything about this show is great, and they're still having so much fun with it. So this is a show where finally got some nominations on the Emmys, which was great. I don't think it'll win, unfortunately, because it's still a little too specialized, and it seems that if it's a sci-fi or horror, it doesn't make that threshold for people. Yeah. A lot of people just dismiss it. That's just how the people are in the academies still.
Yeah.
But it was a great way to wrap up a series. It was a highlight. That was really good.
My dad called me after he and my mom watched the finale, and he was like, "Son, tell me your mom's lying." I'm like, "What happened?" He goes, "Your mom said this is the series finale." I'm like, "Yeah." So I'm like, "No more." I'm like, "No, it's the series. It's done." And he's like, "No. When does it come back?" You
want to hear it, huh?
Oh, my dad was not having any of it. He goes, "But no," he goes, "this scene's going on for like 15 years." I go, "No, you want to leave on a high note." He's like, "Bullshit. No, you don't." He's like, "This show can keep going on." I'm like, "No, I don't know." I'm like, but no, like, and it's just like he speaks the bullshit. No, it's like Matt Berry like everyone deserved, but Matt Berry would just steal every goddamn scene he was in.
Yeah.
And like it's like from Tucson, Arizona. That's how we speak.
Jackie Daytonia.
Daytonia. Like, you're the most devious bastard in New York City. Like, it's brilliant. And I was a little like when like Guillermo started the job, like, we'll see how this goes. And then Nadia comes in and like, okay, that's funny. And then it's just everything about it was just so good, and they really stuck the landing.
Yeah, and I also like. I'm a big fan of Doug Jones. He's a great actor because he can put up with the makeup and the outfits. So, but for him, when he gets a chance to just do a little more comedy, because it's like I said, he was great in Star Trek. It was like so nice to see him. He's great in everything. But him playing this character and just the way he is at the council meeting for his honor award, and just like, of course I knew, you idiots, I know everything.
He was gonna kill him first. The cameo. I called my mom. I said, "Mom, you're gonna appreciate the cameo." And she's like, "All right." And she called me. She's like, "You're right. I did appreciate that. That was really good." I'm like, it was good.
Yeah.
And, you had your hand up. No, you answered my question. Like, that was hilarious. Like, that was I'm like, that was good job. Good job.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Greg, and I kind of don't. I'm kind of glad that they ended when they did. There's nothing worse than a show goes on too long. I think these guys, they put in the right amount of time, and I'm glad they're done. Because like I don't think it should have gone much longer.
And like I said, like I'd rather them leave on a high note than drag on.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like.
Well, I think the thing is that hopefully, if they choose to and they want to, there is always options.
Oh yeah, they can always come back.
And so we can do because the again, I'm bad with the names, but the guy that plays Nandor.
I love Nandor.
Nandor, sorry, he is so much fun at Comic-Con panels.
Oh yeah,
and anything to do with the show. And this guy has found this character, and it's a character that I would love to see a spinoff of. I would love to see more of, and then the way they end it, without giving it away for Derek, that could be a freaking awesome show that I would definitely want to watch,
Guillermo sits him, yeah. Oh, so good.
Yeah, it's a wealth of things. I mean, I just, it's just one of those shows where everybody's done great stuff. And I get it, Derek, you're right. The last season before, you were getting hints of like, okay, if you don't have the right story, then it doesn't work. Then the characters are kind of repeating themselves, and we're not going anywhere that we like it.
Well, so, I just feel like they were running out of stuff to do. Like, it was still funny, and I was still enjoying it. but like I felt like they were running out of, where to take the show. Because if you think about it in a way, like they're in that house, they can only do so much.
Yeah.
He speaks the bullshit.
But I definitely have enjoyed what I've seen so far, and I'm still enjoying it. I know that, when it's over, I'll be content. So
yeah.
So Bobby, so now we're to the fun part where
Yeah.
everyone gets to just indulge on their own stuff. You have, we're gonna go for your little animation duo here. You have Masters of the Universe and X-Men '97 in your top 10.
Yeah. Like X-Men, Master of the Universe Revelation, I thought they did a really great job continuing the story. I like where Kevin Smith went with it. Again, I'm a Motu, like, dude, Steven? He's a Motu whore. And so am I, and it was fantastic, and I loved where they're going. Like, I think more than anything, I love the fact that where they ended. Like, oh, Hordak, She-Ra, fucking let's go.
I always loved Hordak.
Exactly. And then X-Men '97. If there's one comic book that I have been loyal to since I was a child, outside of Ninja Turtles, and cartoon outside of Ninja Turtles, has been X-Men. And I love that cartoon. I thought that, when I was a kid, I watched it every Saturday with my brother and sister. We had all the toys. And then when X-Men '97 came back, what it's both sad and beautiful was that my brother watched before I did. My brother texted me. He was like, this before he went into the hospital for the last time. He was like, "Hey, I watched X-Men." I'm like, "Oh, what did you think?" He goes, "Corny, very corny, but good. I liked it." I'm like, "All right, cool. You liked it. I like it." He's like, "Yeah." And so
That's funny.
And the fact that they took on such some serious matters with this season, and what hurts is, like, one of the last things I told my brother, I'm like, "Oh, did you watch this X-Men?" And he's like, "No, I didn't." I'm like, "Dude." He's like, "No." He's like, I'm like, "Dude, when you get out of the hospital, you've got to watch it." He's like, "For sure." And so it's one of those things where, like, it hurts that he'll never be able to see. It was when Madeline becomes the Goblin Queen and we get the real Jean Grey back. And I was like, "Oh, dude, it was such a good twist." He's like, all right. He's like, "When I get out of the hospital, I'll watch it." I'm like, cool. And then I remember the episode where Gambit dies.
What? No, I'm kidding.
The episode ends, and the reason why this is like again, like, we laugh through the pain. That morning I woke up because I was going to drive to Austin it was the Wednesday before my brother's funeral, and I had to watch it because I'm like, okay, I have to watch it because I have to, like, keep my promise and everything. And so I watched it, and it ends like that. And Ashley goes, "Should you have watched this?" I'm like, "I don't think so."
Well, it's not like you knew.
No, I didn't. Right? So, like, fan favorite X-Men, like top 5 of mine, like, dies, like, goes out a hero. I'm about to leave for, to Austin. I'm just like, God damn.
Yeah.
But the way they do it, like, it's Magneto reliving the Holocaust in that moment. Gambit going out, like a fucking badass, like, this entire thing. And all at a moment where I was at my lowest, and the cartoons kept, like, it was like, okay, it's a breath of fresh air. Was X-Men '97 was just, and the thing was, it could have been bad. That's the thing. It could have been like that last season of X-Men, like, original, was so shitty, and this one was so good and such, like, a fan favorite, and such, like, gave such, like, what's the word I'm looking for? It gave
meaning, significance, kind of like
it gave significance, but it was also like it gave all these like little, like, shout outs to all the geeks who watched it. Like, here you go, fans.
It's a heartfelt connection to the people that had seen it before.
Exactly. And it was like all these, like, okay, you like this here, like, it was more than fan service, but, like, we got Fatal Attractions in 2 episodes. We got Inferno, like, we got all these, like, oh shit, they're going deep. Okay. So yeah, like, X-Men '97 was fucking great. Yeah.
I mean, I did like it for what it was, but it's just, to me, it was just, it was a fun throwback. I enjoyed it. It was fun, and I do like how they kind of got deep with the representation of, they always go so good with like the mutants being ostracized and the like, the racism kind of it, like they make it adaptable to our society and stuff. So I really did enjoy that.
Yeah.
It's just, it's still animation.
I would say, yeah, you just don't like the drawings for whatever reason, you weirdo.
I just can't get pulled in by.
They're called comic books. Books, they're drawn. So like other things are drawn. You have to deal with that. You got to get over this somehow.
I don't get that.
What?
I
have to admit, I was thrown by the Gambit episode. That one hit hard, but that's only because I didn't see it coming.
See, the funny thing for me is when this show was when it was popular the first time around, I was kind of familiar with it, but I had stopped watching cartoons.
Yeah.
So, there wasn't any streaming services back then, but I remember my days were something else, and it was like, okay, that's for kids now. I read the books.
Yeah.
I liked the comic books. That was a big deal to me. And then for me, just my badge of honor, I have a credit on X-Men, the original movie. I worked on it.
Nice.
So I kept remember working on that movie, going like, please don't fuck up. Please don't fuck up. You're already scaring me because the story behind that is a fucking miracle that it got made and it was made decent enough.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing a screening going like, well, at least we didn't fuck that up. Because down the line, you got a lot of different opinions on what has happened with the X-Men movies. So getting back and just kind of like segue here, the Deadpool Wolverine movie was a joy for me because of that. So I'm trying to get into the X-Men 97, but I'm going back and I'm actually watching the animated series. So I'm trying to get through that first. And the tough part is like you said, when you're a kid, that's awesome. When you're an adult in your 50s, sometimes you're looking at that like, this is a little tough to watch. Not because it isn't enjoyable, but it's so corny.
No.
And I'm trying to watch. I said, well, I've got to watch all these seasons first to watch it.
My wife thought I was watching porn one time. So my brother sent me a link, and it was all the times like Jean Grey like fainted. You're like, She's like, you watching porn? I'm like, no, it's this. She goes, that's like that was on the car. I'm like, yes, that's how she fainted.
So that could be a good drinking game. You would be very drunk, I take it.
Oh my god.
Because like I said, I'm still trying to get through Jubilee at first, and I'm just like, this kid's annoying.
He's annoying as shit. Yeah.
So I mean, but I'm looking forward to it because I think the fun thing is, like you said, and also the kind of like behind the scenes things that kind of make it kind of messed up in a way is these people, when they got the opportunity to tell this story, had watched the original and loved it, and now they're being given an opportunity to carry forth. Here's why I loved it, and I can make it even more fun and connect to everybody that had watched it, But now, all that controversy is going on because of their personal lives now.
Yeah.
So who knows what's going to happen moving forward? So I've got to get to it, but it's. I would say maybe within a year, hopefully, I can watch all of it because there's a lot of episodes. They did a lot in each season. It's like 24 episodes.
Yeah. And that was the one thing I wish they would have done because in the first 4 seasons, they did. While as corny as it might have been, they did a really good job like redoing like the Phoenix Saga, the Dark Phoenix Saga. They were like 5-part miniseries. Like they dragged that shit out. They like, no, we're gonna bring in the Shi'ar and the Guardian. Like, awesome. Like they brought in everything. Like X-Men 97, they kind of reduced everything to like one episode. Whereas in the original, I was like, oh, you want the Phalanx Covenant? Here's 5 seasons. Here's Proteus. Here's 4 episodes. Like shit. Okay, you're actually giving us like the entire.
Because the whole thing too was there wasn't anything else at that time.
No.
And you wanted to sell the toys. You wanted to sell the book. So yeah, you could dig into that deep. But now it's one of those things too where like, well, okay, we're bringing it back, but we don't want to spend all that money per se.
We're gonna truncate exactly. But like going into season 2, I know that they're supposed to be doing an Age of Apocalypse series. I know that episode. I know that they are going since 97, since it was X-Men 97. I know in this season we will get the Grant Morrison run.
Okay.
We're gonna get the leather suits. We're gonna get that. I know that we'll get obviously Bone Claws. We're gonna get Onslaught. And Gambit will return as Death. So
Oh,
Okay.
Jesus.
Yeah, so because that has happened in the books, Gambit, went to join Apocalypse to keep him away from the X-Men. And then I know the big rumor is, and I don't know where it's at right now, I think it's in pre-production, is that Spider-Man 98 is supposed to be coming along too.
Oh boy.
So, because Spider-Man ended on a cliffhanger and never got resolved.
So that would be a cool thing. They do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of, since we're on the throwback thing, I'm going to give it to Greg for his list. He's got Cobra Kai season 6 and Doctor Who season 1.
Yes.
Oh. Okay, real quick. Hold on, Greg, real quick.
Yeah.
I have not watched Cobra Kai. I know I need to. And I need to finish Doctor Who because I did love the 4-part miniseries, and I watched, I think, 2 episodes of Chuti's new season.
And they just released the Christmas episode for him for the beginning of the next season coming out.
Yeah.
And that was spectacular.
Okay.
So he's a good doctor. It is.
Yes.
It's still one of those things where now with so much awareness, people have opinions.
Yeah.
And they toss them like nobody's business on the social media. So depending on who you're reading people again loved it or people had issues. Someone's always going to have an issue. Someone's always going to love it. I think it was a good series. It's an interesting take on the Doctor because one of the fun things about it is that show's been on for so long.
Yeah.
It has to figure itself out over and over again. Where before it was like, oh, you can only write yourself into a corner and then that's it. They've just kind of said, oh, Rick, you know what? We can do anything we want. This is what we're doing. So the 4 episodes that you saw, which was a transition, was great because for me, as I said, I loved Tennant as Dr. Ten. So this was really cool. And that's one of those shows too, where my God, if you do the radio and you do the books and you do the comics, there's so much story out there. And sometimes the fan service, you're not going to know what it is because I'm not listening to the radio shows. They've got radio shows? Okay, yeah, and they've got audio books. And they've got, so yeah, this Doctor is really good, great energy, excitement. They're moving forward. They're pushing their boundaries as far as gender. So if you like Torchwood, this is a Doctor that's a little bit more open-minded to anybody and everybody. But again, they're not trying to push it too much. But the stories were delightful. The concepts were really good. The toughest thing is now with the social media is you start to second guess things. They've already revealed that the companion is already stepping out, and it's one of those things where people are like, "Oh, well, why did she step out?" Well, stop it. Just watch it.
Just watch
it. So you have that going on, but it was the new Doctor Who is really good, and I totally enjoyed that. And then what was the other one we were talking about?
Cobra Kai.
Cobra Kai. So Cobra Kai is one of those ones again where they're doing this weird thing where it's the final season, but they're breaking into 3 parts. So they had a first part earlier, the second part just finished, and now we have the third coming out this year now. The challenge I've had with it as it's progressed was that when it first started, what I really liked about it was it felt real. It felt more of a continuation of these characters in the modern world, the issues that they were having. And I really liked that, where it was the idea of who's good and who's bad is much more gray and more mixed up.
Gotcha.
As it's progressed and they've added more stuff, it's been getting a little bit more ridiculous sometimes. and this season, it's still there, and it's but I've accepted it because I know that it's moving towards an end point with this, and they're launching into other things. As we know, there's going to be a movie coming out that's going to tie in all the stuff, and that's kind of fun. So with that in mind, it was a good season. It's been a good episode. It's been fun to see the characters grow up and evolve, but it's also one of those ones where they have to kind of push it because kids don't stay young forever. They can't be in high school forever.
Yeah.
You've got to tell your story if these are high school kids before they all look like they're in their 30s, But it's been a good show, and I'm looking forward to the ending of it too,
I'm gonna rattle off a couple real quick. I almost forgot these because they were so long. Griselda came out in January, and it was. I am never one to binge anything, and I had one night where I watched 3 episodes in a row. That's how freaking good this show was to me. Yeah. It's about what is known as pretty much the preemptive female drug lord down in South America, and it was the only guy that oh my God, I forgot his name. Who's the big one?
Pablo. Pablo.
Pablo?
Huh?
Pablo.
Pablo Escobar?
Yes, Escobar. I was like, no, I was waiting for his last name. It was like the only woman that he said he was afraid of.
Oh, yeah.
So that tells you so much about her. But you know, it's basically just an autobiographical story of her rise and then how she became so powerful and stuff. But the reason it's on the I keep telling people it's like on the surface. I don't know. I honestly don't know why this show's so good because it's like, how many times have we watched a show or a movie about someone who starts out, as a small underling, and then they become a king or a queen of something, and then they're flourishing in a big business, and they have enemies trying to take them down. It's not a new concept, but there's something about the drive and the story of the show that's just like, it's very compelling. It's like there's so much going on because she has kids, she has a husband, there's her enemies, there's people that work for her. There's just so much going on, and the story just keeps going, and it's just very I don't want to say invigorating. I don't like that word. I don't know. Besides compelling, I don't know.
Okay.
But it's just like it's got very much like you want to keep knowing her story more and more and see what happens. That was on Netflix. Sugar, which is on Apple TV.
Watch that, yeah.
Which is phenomenal. It was one of those shows that I had no idea what I was getting into. Everyone says it has probably the best plot twist of the year, which I definitely will not say.
Thank you, because I haven't seen it yet, and I do want to see it.
Same.
Huh?
I haven't seen it
You
yet.
haven't seen it yet either?
I have not seen that one yet.
Okay. Yeah, it's got this amazing plot twist when, it's kind of like the Dusk Till Dawn thing, when like the movie's one half and then the other half's another half. That this show's kind of like that. It starts out one way and then there's a plot twist, and all of a sudden the show becomes a completely different show. Colin Farrell's amazing in it. He plays a private detective that, or investigator. Sorry, detective would be more like a cop. He's a private investigator who works for a big Hollywood producer, and his niece goes missing, and he's hired to go find her. And it's just, you can imagine with the craziness of Hollywood and Tinseltown, what that can endure. But it's all about also the way it ends is what makes it. Yeah, and he's phenomenal. We're already talking about the Penguin. He's amazing at this. He's just had him and Ella Purnell have both had like really great years, which I want to say on my last one, Sweet Pea, which is on Starz, which maybe a lot of people haven't seen it because it's on Starz. When Bobby and I talked about it earlier, I wasn't finished with it yet. Now I am. I believe it was only 6 or 7 episodes. I mean, she is just one of the best performances of the year. And as good as she is in Fallout, I thought she was better in this. And I think it's because she has to carry the show on her own, because the show is about her character, Rhiannon, and it's all about her. So she has to do all the heavy lifting for the entire thing, and she's in almost every single scene. Yeah. So,
what's the show about? Can you explain it? Can you explain the show without spoiling it?
It's basically about a woman who's very, very a doormat in life. People walk all over her. She doesn't have any friends. She doesn't have a boyfriend. Her life is just, like she literally goes to her work and no one even acknowledges she walks in the room. And then her dad passes away, and she kind of just like, that's all she had was her dad in her life still. And she kind of just loses it. And she has a breaking point to where she starts murdering people.
That's
really?
That's a cool medicine.
It's basically when someone's a doormat their whole life, and finally they get tired of putting up with people's shit, and she starts retaliating. And it doesn't get all like supernatural or anything. It's very rooted in like, there's the cops try to investigate her, and she has to maneuver ways to like, not get caught and stuff. And there's a whole subplot of high school bullying, which made her who she is, and like all this PTSD she's got from it and stuff. It's just the amount of work that you can tell she put into this character is unbelievable. It's just such a complex character emotionally, and she goes through so many layers and so many different situations in the show, and she's just mesmerizing to watch. It's one of those things that maybe on the surface the show doesn't sound that interesting, but if you've ever watched the show just for the acting, this is one of them. And just like it's the whole entire show is worth it just for her performance. So, Bobby, go on yours. We have your lawyer show.
No,
and then of course Interior Chinatown, which I know you've talked a little bit about before.
Yeah. So just running off my top 10, like because my top 10 is all out of the place. The Gentleman on Netflix. I love Guy Ritchie. I thought Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare was a fantastic film. The Gentleman The movie was great. I thought Matthew McConaughey was really good in that. Who was the main guy in The Gentleman Dude? I can't. Let me pull up
I didn't
IMDb.
see
Oh, you didn't watch it? Oh, dude, I told you to watch
No.
it.
I know. Thank you. Yes, I know.
Theo James. Theo James. Theo James and Kaya Scodelario were fantastic. It continues on the Gentleman universe. Great fucking show. Guy Ritchie. I was curious if Guy Ritchie could do a TV show, and he can't. I need a season 2. Matlock, and I know people are gonna be shocked about this. The reason I have Matlock in my top 10 is because did I watch the original show? No. Did I think I like this show? No. Was I curious because Kathy Bates is in it? Yes. Kathy Bates and Jeff Bridges are in it, and I was like, all right, great. It has a great cast. And I was like, all right. And I remember Ashley and I watched the pilot, and I'm like, oh, this is really good. And then you get to the end, you're like, oh shit. All right, this is actually like a lot different than I thought it was gonna be. Okay. And we watched all 8 episodes. You know, they Ashley's pissed because they've been taking these like giant breaks in between. I'm like, probably they didn't think it was gonna be this big of a hit, is what it is. And so they didn't have as many episodes ready to go. And so the 20th they come back. Kathy Bates is just killing it as Matlock. I'll just put it that way. She's great. We're loving the show. And then Interior Chinatown. Ronnie Chang and Jimmy O Yang are fantastic in the show. If you don't know it, I know it's based off a book. I think they're getting a season 2. And then Chloe Benet's in it, and I didn't realize until watching an interview her actual name is Chloe Wong. It was actually she did an interview with Ronnie Chang, and she was like, yeah, I went by Chloe Wong and didn't get any callbacks. I'd go in there and like, oh, you're the best, but you're not white enough to be the lead, and you're not Asian enough to be the friend. We don't know what to do with you. And so what she did was she took her dad's first name, Bennett, and redid her resume, and boom. Oh, you have a white name? Cool.
Like which is sad, but she is super talented also. But yeah, it's sad that that's what she has to go through.
Right? And she's like, I wanted my dad's name because that's my dad. Like that's my name. I don't want to discredit Wong because, and her dad was like, yeah, that's fine. We'll do whatever you need. But it's so great, and I love watching these characters in Law and Order. Realize like, oh, I think there's something going on here, and like, oh yeah, you're in a TV show. You're in a show. It was meta at its best, and I thought it was fantastic. And I really need a season 2. And then, real quick, my honorable mentions were basically.
Hold on, you gotta let Greg finish his.
Oh, we're just okay. That's fine. I didn't know. I thought we were gonna do finish our top 10 and then honorable mentions. Not sure. Okay, Greg, finish your top 10.
Okay, Greg's got Interview with the Vampire season 2, and then I have no idea what the hell Dan whatever is.
Dan to Dan. Dan to Dan is a anime show that just came out, and it is fucking amazing. And it is just one of those shows that's so much hyper energy. It's everything if you like anime, and it's everything if you like aliens and ghosts and everything else. It's just so well done, and it's one of the ones where it's good in the traditional subtitles. It's fantastic in the dub. Yes, the dub is good. I like this show so much. I watch it both ways, and it's just enjoyable. And this is a show that
up the hill, both ways.
Yes, both ways. And when it comes out, I'm already sad that the season's over, but I'm excited because the season's already been announced for season 2. I saw this in theaters because they did a special thing they've been doing lately where they show episodes in theaters at AMC's. They did this for Solo Leveling. They're doing it for Hero Academy, I think is what it's called. So Bleach and other shows, Demon Hunter, they're putting the episodes into movies. So they did that with this show. This is one of the shows where they had a hack, and about 6 episodes got leaked before they were supposed to come out.
I hate that.
They were on YouTube, but they're amazing. The technical things that are done in this show and the great writing. There's an episode where at first you're watching this, you're thinking it's kinetic, it's funny, it's high school kids, so it's got a little bit of the romance stuff that they like to do. and then it does a turn where it has a flashback of a character that you've been introduced to as an adversary, and it pulls your heartstrings and it makes you cry like a little baby because it's so heavy and it's dealing with adult themes. So it's one of those shows. It's really good. It's hard to describe, but if you also great catchy music. If you like the Jap pop, you love the Asian music that I love because now it's like I don't know what they're saying. I don't know what they're singing about, but goddamn, it's funny. It's got a beat. It's so good. So I recommend it beyond a heartbeat. That the Dan is really, really good. Interview for the Vampire season 2, just phenomenal. I mean,
I need to get on that. I finished season 1. I need to get on season 2.
Season 2 is so good because if you're a fan of the books, if you're a fan of the original movies, which I've yet to read the books. I knew about them. I had friends that basically talked to me ad nauseum about them because they love Anne Rice.
Right.
You know, and now they've created the Anne Rice universe, and they've got the Mayfair Witches, which I need to catch up on. But now, thankfully, it's on Netflix, so I don't have to watch AMC Plus on demand and watch the same fucking commercial 15 fucking times during a break.
Yeah, but Interview with the Vampire is on AMC, right?
It's also on Netflix too. They have a deal now where they're porting them too. So I think at this time, if you want,
no, it's the Walking Dead shows that haven't converted over. That's the ones,
right? Yeah,
and that's happening too. So, but Interview with the Vampire season 2, phenomenal. And it's like I knew some of this stuff from the movies, but just the way they tied it in, just the performances, the backstory, it's a great show. It's a great show. So I can't say enough about it. But it's one of those shows where again, there's just so much stuff going on. If you don't watch AMC, and most people when they watch AMC, they think Walking Dead, so they don't watch this. So I'm thinking with more time, it's going to get more picked up, but it's really, really good. And this season, just well acted, great guest appearances from some of the guest actors they have, great location shots. They're in Europe. They expand more on it. So yeah, it's really, really good. And then I think I had the other thing I had for my top 10 was Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Oh, that's right.
Supposedly is over. I don't think it's over. I just think
over.
He when he dies, it'll be over. When Larry David, when he actually, but it's again just a wonderful show. The episode with Bruce Springsteen and the term "floor fucker" is my favorite. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch it because now apparently when people go to concerts, somebody will have a sign that says "floor fucker," and this is all because of Bruce Springsteen. He just came up with it.
I mean, isn't he basically just a grumpy old man, though, or it's what makes it funny?
I think the thing is what makes Larry David funny is he's the man who no fucks are given. And even though sometimes he's right, a lot of times he's wrong. Yeah. But it's just fun to see him in the circle of what we know of. Like, here's a man of privilege who's made tons of money, who doesn't have a care in the world. So he can basically complain about the things that are so stupid and benign and be surrounded by characters that are still trying to be noble or justified in their lives. And it's
one of my favorite scenes, I said to a buddy of mine, KJ, who's this like 6'5" black dude, which is it's funny. The first time I met him, because whenever we see each other, we would like do our shows, and I met him one time, and like he was sitting like, oh, there's KJ, and he stood up. I was like, Jesus. But I sent him the scene with between Larry David and JB Smooth, where he's like, "You like your skin tone? I love my skin tone. I am mocha." He goes, "Do you like yours?" "No, I'm a breakfast cereal. Like I'm just like bland. I'm porridge." He goes, "You're like a nice mahogany wood. You're like good wood. I'm like a bland breakfast cereal." Funniest scene ever. Like, nah, fuck that, man. I love my skin tone. I'm mahogany. I'm beautiful. I'm like, that's just hilarious because like a lot of people like I'm like you're porridge. Like, let's just be real here, right? It's funny. It's such a great scene.
It's one of those shows where, like I said, if you get easily offended, you're not going to like it. Yeah. But if you get past that, it's just fun. Again, it's another way to look at what we deal with online. And Larry just has a great way of doing it. It was heartfelt with it being this episode with Lewis, the actor.
Oh yeah,
it being his last season because he passed away afterwards, unfortunately. But just the scenes with him are just so funny. And Vince Vaughn's in it, which, Vince Vaughn, Colin Farrell, great actors. Hey, they were in season 2 of True Detective. They're just good people. Sorry, Derek.
Good people who did a bad show.
Not a bad show. Greatest show ever. Go see season 2.
No.
But yeah, it's like I said, it's been a good year for TV, and those were on my list. I have my honorable mention, but I'll wait till.
Yeah, Bobby, you go ahead and jump on that.
Honorable mentions. Let's see here, and I'm gonna forget some like House of the Dragon was really good. I thought that was a little too short. Will Trent has been a really good show. I really dig it. Season 3 comes back on in 2 weeks.
I've heard so many people talk about this show, and I still haven't watched it because it's broadcast. So I just ignored it. But it seems like a lot of people like it.
It's a fun, good show. Abbott Elementary. I need to get back on season 4, or I
co-sign on that one.
Yeah. You what?
I co-sign on that one.
Yeah. High Potential, another ABC show with the actress from Kate Wilson. Yeah. And I like it because I love shows like Psych and Monk and like the brilliant detective that isn't a detective. The show that was my number 1 in August and got bumped. Chaos.
Yeah, we'll give you your room to rant right now.
The reason I'm going to rant, this like Brother Son was such a good goddamn show, and Netflix fucking canceled it. Pissed me off. Jeff Goldblum as Zeus was brilliant casting. I mean, it's just fantastic. Like Ashley and I watched the whole season in a day. We stayed up till 3 in the goddamn morning finishing the show because each episode was so good. Literally that night, British Vogue goes, great show. When do we get season 2? 2 weeks later, Netflix cancels it. Like, what the shit, Netflix? Batman, the Caped Crusader I thought I was a little hesitant on it when I saw some of the designs. But the fact that it does take place in the 40s, it sounds like a radio show. It reads, it's Bruce Timm at his most Bruce Timmist. My only complaint about the show, and it gets resolved at the end of the season, is throughout the entire fucking show, because Batman, like year 1, Batman basically, Batman year 2 maybe, he's cold to Alfred. He just calls him Pennyworth. The whole season he's cold. At the end, when Alfred almost sacrifices himself to save Batman, Batman starts calling him Alfred. Like there's like this great switch in Bruce where like, oh no, this guy is my dad. And there's a great switch there. Squid Game season 2. Squid Game feels very much like Westworld now to me. So I'm like, all right, let's see where this goes. I liked it. Season 3 comes out in July. The release got leaked. July 2025. From Skeleton Crew, which I haven't finished. The Boys, Black Doves. Black Doves, if you have not watched it on Netflix.
I've heard a lot of good stuff about that one.
Fucking amazing. We watched it in 2 days. So good. It's a British spy thriller.
See, sorry, I go outside. Sorry. I do things. I don't just stay inside and watch TV all day. Sorry.
Do you? What do you do?
I go to work, sir. We don't all just get to stay home.
Well, that's not my fault. Black Doves.
It's a thankless job in a warehouse or somewhere where there's no light or there's no
exactly.
air.
Yeah, there we go.
And then Bad Sisters. Bad Sisters is another Apple TV show. Season 2 came out. My mom and dad really liked Bad Monkey. I just haven't watched it yet with Vince Vaughn. I just haven't watched it yet.
I don't know. A lot of people seem to like it more than me.
And that's a Bill Lawrence one too, right?
Huh?
And that's a Bill Lawrence, the guy that's doing The Shrinking. I think that's one of his.
I don't think he's the showrunner though. I think he's just like a producer.
I think he's a writer or producer, but it's under his umbrella of things. I think.
Really?
Yeah.
I believe so. I believe so. I want to see it too because I like.
Oh shit! Sam Jones directs it. Okay, Sam Jones did an episode. I like Sam Jones. Let's see here.
I don't know. It was one of those ones that like it just never really took off for me. Like it kept going, and I kept waiting for it to get better, and it just kind of just stayed like this for me. But I know a lot of people that actually really liked it. I think part of the problem is like I'm not the biggest Vince Vaughn fan because he's the same guy in everything. He just plays the same character over and over again, and it's boring to me. Okay. But the show is very, and also like I had a talk with I Actually, I can't remember who it was. I think it might have been Lance. I'm not sure. I had to talk with somebody about the show, and there's certain subplots that didn't seem necessary, and there's certain storylines with certain characters that just didn't like. What was the you ever get done watching a show and you're like, what was the point of X character or Y character? Like they didn't even need them. So I just feel it's one of those shows that had a lot of like fat they could have trimmed.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it does have Natalie Martinez though, who is always a winner.
What is she from?
A lot of stuff.
What's the first thing you saw her in?
The first thing?
Yeah.
She was on Detroit 187. That was a show that only lasted one season. But she was on that fighting show that was on DirecTV network. She was fucking great in that.
That's all done. I haven't end of watch.
Bobby's going down the rabbit hole.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I haven't really seen her much. I've watched. I did watch.
Oh, she was in Under the Dome. She was really good Under the Dome.
She was in Reminiscence, which I saw, and then she was in The Stand, which I did not see.
The Stand was fucking terrible.
That.
Do not watch that.
That's what I've heard.
It's one of the worst shows I've ever seen in my life. Oh, Kingdom. That's what she was in. Yeah, she was in it. She played a fighter in Kingdom. She was great. But anyways, that you wrapped up?
I am done.
Okay. I'm just gonna say mine really quick. I feel terrible even saying this, but I just want to say it really quick because I'm loving it. I don't know why I can't seem to find the time to finish it. I'm with you on Skeleton Crew. Holy crap! I'm only 3 episodes in, and I love the crap out of the show. It's so damn good.
I just can't say. I know.
Same. I can't believe how amazing it is, and how I don't know. For some reason, I just keep forgetting to go back to it, and just like I'm like, damn it, I need to watch this. I keep watching this, but it's amazing how a show, which is just about a bunch of kids on a crazy adventure, it's so engrossing. I'm really enjoying it. Day of the Jackal on Peacock.
Yes,
about
really good.
A remake from the film. Eddie Redmayne getting pursued by a British intelligence. I don't know. I forget what her exact title is. But he's getting pursued because he's taking down all these, assassinations, and they keep trying to get up to him. And it starts out a little bit slow, not necessarily the first episode, but like they kind of like when they start getting into the like her trying to find out who he is and trying to get the case going. But like as the show progresses and she gets closer and closer to him, it really starts picking up and stuff. When she's getting on his heels and stuff, it really gets going. Yeah. Resident Alien, actually, when you said that, I'm like, oh crap, I forgot that came out. Yeah, that show is always wonderful. Alan Tudyk is hilarious. Every year, any year it comes out, I always put it in my at least honorable mentions. It's a fantastically fun show. You could say the lore of it keeps getting more. They're bringing more aliens from his homeworld now, and from outer space instead of just keeping it now just on Earth. They're starting to bring more from outer space and to make the story more developed. And I think the next season's the last one. And then I almost forgot, it's kind of my top 10. Parasite, I've said it before, the Japanese show on Netflix. Aliens. Easiest way to put it, it's about aliens that come down to Earth. Yeah, and they start taking over people, and it starts being like this whole like pandemic kind of thing where like you don't know if people are infected or not with a parasite in them or not. If they look like humans, you can't tell if they're infected or not. And it's basically about these parasites trying to take over Japan and take over the entire city and stuff, and of course ultimately the world and stuff. But it's really gory. It's really fun. It's the aliens look a little silly, honestly, but it's a really fun show. And then finally, just a random one, English Teacher on FX. Great show. It takes place in Austin, but it's basically just a gay teacher, English teacher in his life at the school and with the students. And like the reason it's so good though is they bring a lot of just great political messages, a lot of great relationship messages. It's like it's just one of those shows that when they get done with an episode, you're like, damn, it's like one of those well said, like they just make a lot of good statements about society and people and relationships and stuff. It's just but it's all done in a high school. So it's like you're dealing with like, it's kind of almost like maybe a more serious AP bio.
Okay.
But I'm not done with it, but I'm almost done, and I really enjoy it. It's been a nice surprise. Greg, you're up.
So We talked a little bit earlier. Silo season 2. I'm enjoying that. That's an honorable mention for me. And that first episode was everything I'd hoped for because I wanted to know so much desperately what was out there. So other than being plunged into the dark, great show. And it's been really well put together. I love it. Tim Robbins is just phenomenal. He's
a dick.
He's doing it perfectly.
Yes,
and that's a good show. I like that one a lot. Fargo, the last season of Fargo was amazing. I know technically it may be a year before, but it came out last year, and I really liked it. So I put that in honorable mention. That was season 5.
John Hamm is incredible, dude. John Hamm is so good. Him and Juno Temple.
And the guy that actually won the Emmy from New Girl, Lamont.
Yeah.
He's so good. He is such a great actor. I've always enjoyed his performances, and I was so happy he got the win. He's a great actor. He's doing some really phenomenal stuff. We talked about Skeleton Crew. This is the one I think we're like for people that have been complaining about Star Wars not being Star Wars. This is the answer for that.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you were a kid in the 70s like I was, this would be the Star Wars I wish they had on TV when I was in this story. The feel to it is exactly as a kid watching Star Wars what I wanted to see. And I've loved it. The sets, the production, oh my God, it's beautiful. And this last episode, because you got to catch up, the last episode was directed by Howard Bryce. She knocked it out of the park.
She's knocked every episode she's directed for Star Wars out of the park.
She has found herself.
Is it done?
Huh?
Is it done?
No, it's not done. It's still got episodes to go. But they've had different directors. I think the first episode was done by the guys that did Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah.
The two brothers.
Oh, I didn't even know
they're
that.
not brothers, but the two, they have the same name. They got picked to do this before they won the Oscar. So it was just great directors, great story, beautiful sets. It's an interesting lore. The animation on the owl creature for that one episode, I think.
I love that. I love that character.
God. You would never think an owl could move like that. I was just like blown away with that.
I just thought it was a fun character.
Yeah, and I want to know more about that. It was really good. It's great. One that got canceled after one season that I wish they would bring back, Dead Boy Detectives.
Oh my God, yes.
That was such a
Was that this year? Fuck.
Yeah,
that was fantastic.
Yeah, because I was a big fan of, but then again, this whole thing is, again, sometimes the people we like do dumb things. And Neil Gaiman has had his issues now, and we all know what's going on with him, and this is affecting the series of Sandman. But these are characters that have been introduced in Doom Patrol and then tied into Sandman's universe in this one. It was great. It was well put together. I didn't know Kelly Coco had a sister, but man, I love her. She's one of the character actors. She's just
really
badass.
Kelly Coco's sister?
Yeah, plays a butcher. Lesbian.
Yeah.
Butcher.
She was great.
Yeah, that's Kelly's. That's her sister. So I love the look and everything. It had a great feel to it. It was a great series. I'm bummed that it's out. And I had one more animated series that I actually liked, Terminator Zero, on Netflix.
I need to watch that.
This is a great show.
Terminator?
It's a new Terminator series, but it's again it addresses kind of some of the situations we've had with other. Time travel is confusing because time travel doesn't actually exist. So we make it difficult. And we don't know how to fix these things. But this one actually has a good take on trying to connect everything we've seen in the Terminator universe so far and kind of try to wrangle it in to a nexus point. And what they do with this show is pretty cool. So it has stuff that you know from before, but it is a new story. And it does take place in Japan, which was kind of cool for it. You know, so I recommend that. And that's my honorable mentions for this year.
Boom.
All righty.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys. Thank you for coming on and doing this episode. Bobby, it's always great to collaborate with you again, and I'm glad we wrangled in the Burger Lord here for his couch potato fields.
Right. I just had a great burger yesterday at Grill 'Em All over in Long Beach, and 2025 is already shaping to a great year.
Oh, Dan, you made the trek all the way to Long Beach. You were a soldier, sir.
Finally did it. It's a long overdue.
Oh, when was the last time you went?
Back when they were still in Alhambra. Before they
damn!
down.
So it was the first time you made it to Long Beach?
Yeah, it's just been one of those things where I had it done there. And they have a burger that's over there. That's based on the musician Dirtbag. It's called Dirtbag Burger. bacon, cheese, grilled chili. Oh, just oily garlic sauce. Delicious burger. Works good as a burger, works good as their fries, because you can also do the fries there. Grill Mall is just a great place. If you're somewhere in the area visiting Los Angeles, look them up. They're in Long Beach now, right by the water. It's a great little place. You can go and enjoy an amazing burger. Really good food.
And on that note, Greg, keep on going. Drop your socials for the people so that they want to come talk food and TV with you.
Yes, so I'm still on X/Twitter. I just added Blue Sky because I do have a conscience and I do want to find some happiness in things versus just what we have on X sometimes. But I'm Greg _Musinho or just Greg Musinho. Come and say hi. I'm still on all the old ones too. I'm still doing Instagram. I'm still doing Facebook. So come and find me. We can talk burgers. We can talk movies. We can talk everything.
And my name's Derek. You can find the Geekdom Fancast on social media under Geekdom Fancast. Hopefully, I will be adding all those other ones because I need to. Because I need to pilgrimage off the dark side.
And nice new logo. By the way.
Oh, thank you, sir. I actually have a guy working on one more also. So we have one more to go. He's just been really busy.
Nice. Am I supposed to
I was like, come on, fearless leader, take us home.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, obviously you can find me. I haven't done Blue Sky yet for GHG. I need to. I am on Blue Sky personally, and I can't think of what it is right now. Where is my Blue Sky? I am at Blue Sky at, I think it's robbecks.bluesky.social. And then Instagram, Geeks Have Game, and if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's I think it's Rob Bex too as well. I think, or ProBex. I don't know. I'll put it up there later. And then let's see, this will go up this week. I'm also doing an episode on the Toy Kind of Mood.
Yeah, we're doing about the Toy Kind of Mood show.
Yeah, I'm doing that. We're doing the best of the rest of 2024. We did best of G.I. Joe, best of Jada, best of Marvel Legends, and now we're doing the best of like NECA, Transformers, Star Wars. Spoiler, this dude is my number 2 figure for Transformers of the year. It's Bumblebee because
what did you think of the Ghostbuster stuff from Hasbro?
I thought it was great. I wanted that HasLab so badly, but I'm actually selling my His Tank and Dragonfly right now on eBay because for the move. But I wanted that Ecto one so goddamn badly.
So here's the thing: when you're a single man with no kids to feed, guess who bought both?
Did you really? I wanted to, and then everyone's like, "Are you gonna get it?" I'm like, look, if I want to stay married, I am not going to. Okay, I'm already selling this stuff. I already got, I can't sell like 90% of my pre-orders. I still got some coming in. This made my list of the top Marvel Legends, the 2-pack Sentinels from the Capcom game. If I wanted to stay married, I definitely was not, but I wanted it so badly. It was so damn cool.
The funny thing is I just got and this is a shout out, Lower Decks, which just unfortunately wrapped up its series on Paramount Plus, Star Trek Lower Decks. I just finally got my figures from Mondo that they put together, the little figurines.
Oh, really?
Just in time for the show to be over.
How it goes. It's how it goes. Sucks.
Yeah.
But check us out.
Hey, Bobby, does the Bumblebee come with a little facsimile Haley Steinfeld to put in it?
No, it does not. It does not. It does not. Nor does it come with a little Josh Allen. But this is my number 2. It's just perfect. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that find us on Instagram and YouTube at A Toy Kind of Mood, and we've got some stuff kind of trying to plan for this season, and then you can see Derek and I on GHG. Hopefully next week we'll be going over our.
Yeah, we gotta wrap that up, man.
Spoiler. someone in this household won a championship in our league, and it
Wow.
wasn't me.
Wow.
Oh,
But it was me. But it wasn't me. But it was. As my wife goes, I am the owner. You're the GM. I own you. You know my team's good. I'm like, fair. Yeah, dude. Fantasy football sucked this year, but it was so fun. But yes, that hopefully next week we'll be doing another episode with fantasy football. Because we're winding down the football season and it sucks.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for. I'm glad we all got together to do this. Until next time, here at the Geek and Fast, we'll be saving you a seat on the couch for the TV. We'll bring the snacks. We'll even let you hold the remote if you want. We'll let you put your feet up. We got the settee for your phone. Yeah, everything.
Fuck, we're not bringing the snacks. I'll bring my snacks.
yeah. Just put your phone away. No laptops. It's a TV. We're watching a goddamn TV.
We're watching
All
the
right,
show.
All right, guys. So much. Happy New Year to everyone.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, y'all. Peace.
We'll talk to you all soon. Everyone take care.